This week on the program, with everything on our minds this week, Texas's heartbeat bill going into effect, watch checker fact checks, and more teachers being bastards, let's not forget the real question on our minds today. Did you know cockfighting was with chickens? That last 6 months is a waste. Later, Fauci says the Mu variant is not an immediate threat to the U.S. Knowing his track record, does that mean that the Mu variant is in fact a threat to the U.S.? Finally, a judge denied custody to a mother because she was not vaccinated. It was later overturned, but should this have happened in the first place? We'll talk about all this and much more. Your emergency exit is right this way.
This exit's for emergencies only.
That's right. Welcome to another episode of Emergency Exit Podcast. This is episode 218 today, September 3rd, 2021. We are broadcasting again from K-Brand Studios here in our floating tin can, far above the world. Nice.
Thank you.
I am Los. You could follow me on TikTok at That's Right Los. Joining me as always is exactly David Aguilar.
You're damn right.
At Ariel Austin. Making sure we're streaming live is not Jura52. Brandon, the hard hat Mitchell, my man.
I'm here.
There he is.
He had to
Right
leave juror duty to be here on time.
That's right. So we've got a lot to talk about.
Got a lot to talk about.
Lots to talk about. We got your phone calls and more coming right up. But first, let's take care of a little business with this mystery beer in our Brew World order.
It's the Brew World Order.
All right, this week we've got from Zilker Brewing Company. It's a seasonal, so this is not eligible for Brew World Order Tournament of Beers. This is a jam. This is called the Jam Lager.
Jam lager.
This is a Jamaican-style lager, light, refreshing, flaky,
Hold
cracker
on.
light.
You need to do it in a Jamaican accent.
But light, refreshing, flaky, cracker like man. Alcohol by volume, 4.3. Yeast, Saf Lager, S23. Hops, barrel. Malt, Pilsner malt. I don't I'll tell you all this stuff in here. It's 4.3% alcohol by volume. It is it's a beer. Have you ever had Red Stripe? You're probably familiar with what a Jamaican style lager is.
Never had that.
We've all had a chance to drink a little bit of this and come up with a rating. So
Brandon
we'll start
didn't get
with
to drink any.
we'll start. Oh yeah, that's right. We only have two of these.
You only had two.
We only have two of these. So you've had a chance to drink it. I've had a chance to drink it and develop a score
So
between 1 and 10. What do you got?
I'm gonna give this a solid 4. That's right.
Why?
There's not one thing I liked about it. Alcohol is low. The flavors just aren't hitting me right. Just a little bit too bitter on some ends. It's kind of like, a little in your face. You know what I mean? There's no relaxation point. It's just kind of like, makes me want to pucker my face every time I sip it. So yeah, 4. That's right.
Yeah, it's not that great of a beer. It's a bit earthy. It has a stripe of like brightness that rolls through, like almost metallic-y rolling through your tongue, but it's a dull, earthy taste in general. I almost taste red. I don't know if that means anything, but it tastes like a red beer, like a red stripe in a way.
Ooh.
I don't know when it's weird to say red beer because it's not an amber beer. It's not like that at all. It's probably pretty pale as a lager would be. It just has an odd taste that doesn't come off.
Yeah.
It's very appealing to me.
Nope.
I will give this a solid 4. That's right.
Wow.
So we are in agreement with that. That's 2 4s in a row,
Hey,
averaging
that's what I'm
4. If this wasn't a seasonal, it still wouldn't have made it to the Brew World Order Tournament of Beers. But well, sorry to disappoint you, but it came in this sweet labelless can here. Are they allowed to serve these cans or what?
No, these were given to me by a friend of mine.
Okay.
So
What'd he do to him? Maybe he fucked around with it, and he's like,
No,
I
no,
got these I
no.
got these fuckers.
No, he works for them.
Probably jizzed in it.
No, he works for them, and apparently these were. I think he said they were like 90% full, so they couldn't sell them.
Oh, right. Yeah, I know a guy that would work in a brewery, and they
Mhm.
would give out not fulls.
Yeah. So he was like, I have a few there. So he gave me some Marcos, which I'll give this one a 9 every day.
Well, what's the average on the Marco? What did we
Oh,
get?
this-
What did we already say on the Marco?
So because this is 7% alcohol, bro, you know it's gonna be good.
Dude, alcohol percentage doesn't give it that much of an advantage.
It gives it that much an advantage when you know you need to drink less of it.
When did we drink it? A few weeks ago?
Was it
Pretty
a few weeks?
recently?
I feel like it was months
Brandon's currently looking this up, so we're going to figure this out.
ago.
But we're going to figure out what Marco IPA got. Because I don't feel like it got a very high rating because Brandon's not an IPA drinker.
That's true. But I would have given it about 8 or 7 or 8 at least.
Control F? I don't know.
I'm not seeing it for anything going back to 200, or actually to 197.
Yeah,
So I know we've done it.
We've done Marco?
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, I'm
done
sure
it.
you've done Marco.
Well, with the reason why we didn't make it the brewer, because you said we did it already.
I thought we did it.
I'm pretty sure we did.
And a little bit on how the fudge is packed here in the studio. We were deciding whether or not to do a second Brew World, which we would record for next week's episode, which we will be out of
Yes.
K-Brand Studios and once again back to Austin Public Studio.
So this is our official last show
Well,
here.
I mean, it's not the last one. I'm sure there are going to be days where they're blacked out and we have to come back up north to do the show here at K-Brand. But either way, we'll be back there. But it's going to be a whole new format. I mean, it's not a whole new format. Things are going to change a bit, but it's not. Phone calls are going away for a little bit until we can figure that out. But
No, we can still take phone calls.
we can take.
Oh,
yeah,
there you go.
you're right. We can't take Channel 10 phone calls because we
'cause
won't be going live.
Unless we don't curse.
Again, giving you guys little secrets on how the fudge is packed here at the emergency exit. But let's go ahead and get out of here. You ready to drop that bumper on us? That was another Brew World bumper.
It's the Brew World.
All right, so we're gonna just go. We need a bumper for All Teachers Are Bastards.
We do.
Could you make us one?
Yeah, we'll make one of those. Oh, teachers up. Sing a jingle right now. When you're a teacher and
Huh.
you're a bastard.
Bastard teachers, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad teachers, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bastards. I don't know. I think maybe you could take a bunch of the clips of all the, because we've done this. It's becoming a
Yeah,
rolling
All
feature on the
Teachers
show.
Are Bastards,
Just
man.
take little clips from each of the videos that we have and just play them all, and like with an ominous music, like real low, like. But
Like
anyways,
fucking backward chanting.
we're getting straight into All Teachers Are Bastards in here, and we don't think all teachers are bastards. We're just going to be using the verbiage that was used in the riots that were happening all summer long last year, where all cops are bastards because a select few are pretty shitty ones, right?
Yep.
But we never hear about the good ones. It's been a while since I've even heard about a good teacher, but all I do see lately are teachers that are being bastards, indoctrinating children. When was the last time you heard of a good teacher? When was the last time you heard of a teacher banging one of its students? It's like that was what our concern was about back in the day. Now the concern is, are they teaching our kids that white people are evil?
Well, see, before we were worried about the teachers penetrated their holes. Now we're worried about them penetrating their minds.
We want them to penetrate the minds.
I don't know about
Okay.
in another way.
I see how your joke was going.
There's
Could have worked on a lot of it more.
Hey, that was on the fly. That was on the cuff.
Yeah, that
There's a
was-
lot of penetration going on in this joke.
So I've got a video here from a beautiful but stupid ass teacher who's having their students straight up pledge allegiance to
Oh, my wife told me
a
about
very
this.
all-inclusive flag. Here she is.
Okay, so during third period, we have announcements and they do the Pledge of Allegiance. I always tell my class, stand if you feel like it, don't stand if you feel like it, say the words if you want, don't have to say the words. So my class decided to stand but not say the words. Totally fine. except for the fact that my room does not have a flag. It used to be there, but I took it down during COVID because it made me uncomfortable. And I packed it away and I don't know where, and I haven't found it yet. But my kid today goes, hey, it's kind of weird that we just stand and then, we say it to nothing. And I'm like, oh, well, I gotta find it. Like, I'm working on it. I got you. In the meantime, I tell this kid, we do have a flag in the class that you can pledge your allegiance to. And he looks around, he goes, oh, that one?
Oh, that one?
Okay, so during
All right.
third period.
There she is, AOC looking, actually better looking than AOC. AOC's good looking, but she's much better.
Hey, there you go. See, AOC,
Are
say
you trying to-
AOC. Brandon gets crazy when you mention AOC. He's like, whoa.
Are you trying to say you need a drink?
I was a little flustered.
He's a big
Little
AOC
flustered.
fan, bro.
Well, first of all, the pride flag thing pisses me off on one sense, but the other one is that the American flag made her uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like what?
and
During COVID.
well, even when she said, I'll look for it, and then she does a clip
Then
of
she
like,
does that. Yeah,
I'm not looking for it.
I burned it.
Yeah, probably. She probably pissed on it or
So
something.
let's scroll up and read where this news article is coming from, because this is from NBCNews.com.
What the percentage do you think that she has hairy armpits?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think she's got hairy armpits.
I would say about 75%.
No, I don't think so. Okay, this is from NBC News from Joe Yorkaba.
Yorkaba.
Teacher faces backlash for suggesting student pledge allegiance to pride flag. A student teacher, she's not a student teacher, but California school district is investigating a teacher who posted a now viral video. By the way, it was at Mrs. Gyllenhaal or Gillenhall or whatever. It's gone, basically. You won't be able to find it.
Ms. Gillingsworth.
Gillingsworth, that's what it is. Yeah, and you can't find it anymore. I looked it up, and she's gone.
She's gone.
She's gone. So this article just basically transcribes what she was saying here. Yes, she has been deleted. Oh, she's actually been deleted. Oh, which has been deleted. She probably deleted it, by the way, because this is pretty dumb of you to be a teacher and then say this kind of stuff, knowing that there is this. Is anyone like deaf or living under a rock that you don't know that? Not that deaf people don't know, but you don't know that there's this attack on teachers teaching indoctrination at the moment with leftist policies. Like, don't you know that by now that that's happening?
Well, I'm sure that because...
So don't fucking film yourself talking about it.
Well, no, but you know that all this is just virtue signaling. Like, to
Of course
them,
it is.
To them,
It's scoring points.
Well, yeah, because who's the loudest one right now? The left is. So to her, she's thinking, oh, me saying this.
Speaking of, you could go on. Speaking of virtue signaling, I wanted to talk about a post from our old host here.
But what I was...
You go ahead and continue on while I find that post.
What I was going to say was just like, so what she's over here thinking is, I'm putting this video up and I'm going to get these people agreeing with me, not knowing that's wrong. Like, you shouldn't do that in either way. You know what I mean? Like, if there is, a creationist who's teaching and he has, like, takes down the American flag and puts up, like, some crazy whatever flag, like a flat earth flag, I wouldn't be down for that either, because I'm like, you're not supposed to be teaching ideologies in your school.
Period.
Yeah.
And their reason is that the American flag's not inclusive. That's bullshit. You know what's not inclusive is that flag that you're having people pledge allegiance to. But speaking of virtue signaling, former host of the show here on his Facebook recently goes, nobody should be forced to get vaccinated. Let's pass the My Body, My Choice bill. No state or federal government entity should tell anyone what to do with their body. And then somebody was all super pissed off at him for saying that.
Really?
And then he goes, oh, I just wanted Ted Cruz to, this was for Ted Cruz to see, because he's a dumbass, because he hates Ted Cruz, right? For some fucking reason he hates him.
So that post was specifically meant for Ted Cruz to see.
Yeah, who's not a friend of him at all. So that's where you go, then who's it for? Because obviously Ted Cruz is not one of your friends on your friends list, dude. So who's it for? I'll tell you what it's for. It's for signaling how virtuous you are, which is something you've always done. I'm sorry to harp on you, but like he's doing that lately. He's like, sending like those messages on your when you did that video, Brandon, of the hole with the thing, and I thought you were actually making a disc golf. What do they call that? A disc golf platform, right?
The box.
Yeah. And people ask, "What's the hole for?" He goes, "What does he say? Something to the effect that, oh, this is like the Republicans."
Yeah, all the ballots that the Republicans.
It's where to hide all
or something. Like, get the fuck out of here, Jimmy. Like,
it's obviously that he's goading, and
yeah,
you know, if you want to goat, why don't you come back on the show and let's try to talk it out. But
what's goading?
When someone gets your goat. The old saying comes from horse racing because horses like have like a goat in the stable, which is like their friend or whatever.
Okay.
And I guess the saying goes like, when you get someone's goat, it's like horses. Like if you stole that horse's goat, they would they're like attached to that goat, and so they don't perform very well. But you're getting their goat, so you're getting on them. You're trying to get them to do something out of the ordinary, right? You're trying to fuck with them in a way. Trying to get them to engage with you in a way or fight with you. It's just something he always accused me of doing.
I that's kind of how I felt what he was doing. I was like, yeah, whatever. And then I just didn't even respond. I think after that, I think I'd put something like, I'll leave it to Jimmy to make a whole political, and that was it. And then he went on a whole thing like fucking paid like. Dude, get the fuck out of here. Like, go do something with your life.
Yeah,
all right?
yeah.
Like, I don't fucking need, like...
Leave my hole alone, Jimmy.
Just get the fuck out of here, man.
Well, and that's what I mean. It's like, even, I see this a lot even on my fucking Facebook wall where people like Jimmy who have this, right, he can post that, but has he posted any outcry of what Biden has done with Afghanistan? Every single fuck up he's done since being president, how shitty the economy is, how he has the lowest average now that he's ever had before.
I'll give you the short answer. No, he doesn't.
Right, exactly. Because to him, and that's what every leftist right now, they're in the shit. So any little thing, like the heartbeat bill, any little thing that they could grasp to say, oh, what can I be loud about? They will, because they know the person they put in sucks.
We'll get into the heartbeat bill probably in the next hour, and we want your input, everybody. But I'm getting very sick of this, like, Republicans telling me what to do with my body. Like, I'm getting very sick of that argument. I'll tell you more later, but we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about teachers being bastards, okay? And we'll round it back by, that's virtue signaling here. If you want a virtue signal, whatever. That's your prerogative. I don't give a fuck. But you're a goddamn idiot. I don't post. That's why it prevents me from posting a lot of stuff. I'm not about trying to brag about anything of me. Like, oh yeah, I've got such a great leather business and whatever. Right? I hate bragging about myself. But that seems to be what the MO is with people lately. Like, it's so self-centered. It's not. It's everything's about them. I, me, and it seems to be what is going on with these teachers here. It's not about, and they say that they're for change, and but it's like it's me. I did this. So basically, this woman gets she's getting looked at by her district, and I think she's going to either get paid leave, which I think she's probably on right now. Can we scroll down and see if there's anything else on this here? Some people said that their issue was less with the presence of a pride flag in the classroom and more with her remarks about the American flag, which they found disrespectful, given news last week that 13 U.S. service members were killed.
Wow.
Let me check my watch real quick.
That is so true.
So 13 service members. Check my watch real quick. In a Kabul, Afghanistan. Where were we? Let's scroll down.
It doesn't matter.
Richard Grinnell, former acting director of national intelligence, also criticized this bitch, writing on Twitter, "What kind of parent would allow their children to be taught by this wacko? Why are parents turning their kids over to someone they don't know?" I'd like to talk about, remember we talked about cameras in the classroom?
Yeah.
This is why we want cameras in the classroom. We don't need to be seeing the children.
Yeah.
It needs to be. We don't care about. We don't care about the children. Sounds a little bad, but in this instance, like we do care about them. But what we care about most is we care about the children most. Okay, don't get me wrong, but we care about what their teacher is teaching them.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and that's the thing.
That's why we want the camera on the
we don't.
teacher.
We're not. Especially like as parents. Parents know their children. So it's not like we're there to be like, let me keep an eye on my kid. Although that's part of it. It's what are you saying to my child? What are you teaching my child?
Exactly.
Yeah.
While we do not discuss employee-related matters, we can tell you that showing respect and honor for our nation's flag is a value we instill in our students and an expectation in our employees. The spokesperson said for this district, we take matters like this seriously and we are taking action to address it. We do not discuss employee-related matters. Why not? Are you a public school? Do we pay? Should we not know about employees that we pay for? That's like you owning a business and you have somebody that did something at your work at the place that you own that you hired somebody and they're like the HR fires somebody and they're like, oh, listen, we can't tell you. It's a personal matter. Like, what are you talking about? I own this company. We own that school. You better tell us what's going on. Many of her critics took issue with her removing the American flag from the classroom, but others argued that she shouldn't be forcing her personal beliefs about LGBTQ people on students. However, in recent years, advocates have called on educators to make an effort to be more openly supportive of those people, the alphabet people, whether that's by including prominent LGBT figures in lessons or by displaying a pride flag in the classroom. Advocates have called on educators. Advocates. Okay. Who are they? Parents?
Well,
more than 2/3 of LGBT students experience verbal harassment, including being called names or threatened at school based on their sexual orientation. I thought sexual orientation wasn't the PC term anymore. And more than half based on their gender identity, according to a 2019. Advocates also found supported environments, including at school, can make a difference to the mental health of the alphabet youth. One 2019 survey from the Trevor Project, an LGBTQ youth suicide prevention and crisis intervention organization, found that queer youth with at least one accepting adult in their life have a 40% lower risk of attempting suicide. One accepting adult in their life. Well, I mean, having people that accept you in your life, period, doesn't matter what you are, is it's something. It definitely will lower the risk of attempting suicide.
You know, it's frustrating also because, you know, as a Christian, they took down the 10 Commandments from the classroom, right? They argue.
I was going to bring up something like that.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is they argue these things when it comes to religious, specifically Christian things. They will argue, oh, it's indoctrination, it's this, it's that. We shouldn't be putting that in the classroom. Okay, if you feel it like that, and I think so many Christians are like pussies about it and say, okay, well, don't. Then you should feel the same way about LGBTQ, gay rights, whatever it be. You should not bring that into the classroom either. And the fact that they're seeing this as so many people want to look at this as if it's not an ideology when it is. You know what I mean? Like when you look at other cultures, homosexuality is wrong in many, many other cultures. Only in America is it widely accepted the way it is. In so many other cultures, like in Afghanistan, like in India, like in China, like other places, it's wrong.
Women are second-rate citizens.
Yeah, well, women are second-rate citizens, but homosexuality is wrong.
Oh,
and,
right.
You know,
Homosexuals are even worse than women
exactly.
to them.
And so what you're teaching these kids is an ideology. It doesn't matter whether you believe in gay marriage or lesbians being right to be with each other. There's so many other places in the world that disagree with you, America, that if a Chinese person or an Indian person were to go to the classroom and see that, you're going against their religion, their beliefs, their upbringings. Not even just talking about Christianity, so many other places around the world. So the fact that people don't see the LGBTQ thing as an ideology, that's where the error starts. The ideology is wrong. You are forcing that ideology on people. They need to see that. Fine. Should you kill gay people? No. Should you harm lesbians? No. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is that is an ideology, and it needs to be seen that way, and they don't see it that way.
Absolutely. And the 10 Commandments, why is it okay to have a pride flag on there, but not the 10 Commandments? I mean, what's wrong with having the moral basis for life, basically, in the schoolroom? I mean, it's not like it says kill fucking gays on it, but one hand, the pride flag doesn't even include Christian white people.
Nope. Well, and I like what you said earlier when you're like,
Christian.
what you said earlier, what's more inclusive than the American flag? That's the reason you have gay rights. That's the reason you live in a world that is accepting of gay and lesbians and trans, because of the American flag. So what is more inclusive than the American flag? It isn't the gay flag.
You know, made me think. You know how, you know, as a white person, some people would say, you know, you're responsible for your ancestors. You know, that's why we should feel guilty about it.
sin of
you
your
know?
ancestors.
But like, how far back does that have to go before you don't have to feel guilty? I mean, like, for example, what if your dad like killed people? Like, does that make you like also a killer? Like, you killed innocent people. Why don't we stigmatize people where their parents are the ones doing bad things today? I guess an example would be like any murderer on death row right now. Why aren't we saying, why aren't those kids or their children being ostracized as oppressors? You know, like, I didn't do anything wrong. I certainly don't think that anyone is inferior to me based on their skin color. I do think people are inferior to me because they're idiots.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have anything to do with their fucking skin color. I'll tell you that much. However, for some reason, to teach children about any sort of inequality that's happening and saying that that's due to race, we're having a problem with that. That's CRT. We're not getting into CRT too much at the moment. But here's another story from NBC Los Angeles. OC teacher removed, and this is Orange County, by the way. This is my old stomping grounds.
Yeah.
The teacher was removed from classroom after pride. I don't know why I'm saying Pride flag. Pledge
you're Asian,
of
bro.
Allegiance goes viral. I mean, what did you expect? You know, did you think that everyone's gonna be like, oh, super sweet? You know, half of the country voted for Trump.
Yeah.
Half the other country voted for somebody. Probably voted for Joe Biden. I don't know.
No, we'll see.
We'll see. You got September 11th coming up here soon, right?
I
Isn't
know,
that when
man.
you think Trump's supposed to be sworn in?
Well, don't put me in that camp.
Okay, are the conspiracy theorists saying that's when he's going to be sworn in again?
Some people are.
So all of a sudden, there's two other people that would get it if Joe Biden is not fit for president. How are they going to bypass that? What is the story? How is he going to be president again? I don't get this conspiracy theory.
Well, this is a thing when
This is conspiracy corner for David.
This is where this is the way I would call the American people to do it. Is everybody who voted for Trump should be making their voice heard right now. If you do not like Biden, I think especially those who did vote for Biden, their voice should be louder and say you want Trump back. Because
that's not how it works.
Well, no, because at the end of the day,
explain to me why he's going to be president in a week.
I'm not telling you why. I'm saying if this is what I think should be done, and why I think Trump should be put back in. Fuck, I'm gonna sound crazy.
It's okay.
No,
just sound crazy.
But what
I want to know what they're talking about.
What I'm saying is, what I think should be done is America should be calling for the resignation, not just only of Joe Biden, but of also Kamala Harris, of also Nancy Pelosi.
What did Kamala Harris do?
Nothing. That's the
good.
thing. No.
That's what I want in a president.
No, that's the thing. It's so many of these. What it looks like they're doing is saying, "Oh, that was Biden's job. He's the one that called it, right? What's his name? General Milley and all these other guys are like, yo, he told us this, and it's like, look, you motherfuckers should be taking responsibility for this country too. You guys know his history. You know his past. If you stepped aside, what is the big thing that the Democrats say? Silence is violence. Yeah. You have been silent. You did not tell Joe Biden what to do. You did not correct him. You didn't tell him it was a good idea, bad idea. Kamala Harris was toting, oh, I was the last person in the room with him. So it isn't just Joe Biden's fault. It's all y'all's fault, and all y'all motherfuckers need to go.
I don't disagree with you, but tell me what is going to happen on September 11th?
I don't know.
What is supposed to happen in this is conspiracy corner. I don't care if you believe it or not. Tell me what conspiracy theory. What is Alex Jones saying about the 11th?
He's not really talking about the 11th.
Who is then?
It's just people online conspirizing.
I just would like to know what the process that they think is going to happen here, because Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, they're not quitting.
I know.
They're not quitting.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw what happens when you try to impeach a president, especially when the one of the branches are on their side.
Well,
right?
This is
Both
where,
the Senate and the House are on Biden's
Yeah.
side. So if it goes to an impeachment, they're probably going to what do they call that? A something.
so
acquit him, sorry.
That's where I think there's more credence to the people who say there's going to be a division of the country, a civil war. I give more credence to that than I do Trump taking over Biden in the presidency.
Yeah, it's not happening.
I would say if you were to ask me, do you think Trump will be reinstated as president over the United States of America, or do you think there's going to be a civil war? I would put my chips on the civil war end because of what you just said. This country is divided. You have the House and the Senate who are blatantly disregarding everything that Biden is doing wrong and just not even talking about it. So I think the American people are going to see this and say, look, if you guys aren't for us, then we need to be with somebody who is. Then that's the way I see it.
But for 4 years they were saying the same thing about Trump and trying to get him out. Everything was you should fucking resign. You're a fucking disgrace.
Dude, but they fucking rammed their fucking arm through the asshole of Donald Trump and have found nothing on him.
Well, trust me, I know
They owe him money. Remember, they're looking for his taxes, and they found out, we actually owe you money.
Let's see.
I think if you look into Biden's history, you will find, this motherfucker's corrupt like a son of a bitch, dude.
Well,
Enough to get his ass gone.
Look. Yeah, he's absolutely corrupt. Joe fucking Biden, right? Joe Obama. I mean, we've got the leaked transcript of him talking to the Afghan president, who's no longer president for some reason, trying to do a quid pro quo. I mean, obviously he does quid pro quos.
Yeah.
Because all we were talking about during this Ukrainian quid pro quo, which didn't even actually happen, but he got impeached over it. Joe Biden says, we withheld money if you didn't fire this person. That's quid pro quo.
Yep.
He admits it.
Yep. He's on tape saying it.
This is going to be another one. And the funny part is this is the most, they were touting how we're the most transparent administration, right? They asked Psaki about it. About this leaked transcript. She goes, we won't talk about personal, or even if it's true or not, we won't talk about a private phone call. Like, what's up with the transparency here?
You know what the frustrating part is?
Lack thereof.
They started yelling and being up in arms about Trump killing Soleimani and wanting to impeach him over that. A terrorist, a person who killed Americans, they were mad that Trump killed him. But when terrorists kill 13 fucking Americans or are doing what they're doing in Afghanistan, the left is quiet. Trump can kill a terrorist and you're mad at Trump, but when terrorists kills Americans, you're silent? That's the country we're in right now. That's the left. The left is like, you kill a terrorist, you're evil, Trump. Terrorist, you're killing Americans. We're not going to say anything. Talk about impeaching somebody on what cause? This dude fucking sent our soldiers into harm's way.
Yeah, and he blamed Trump about the Taliban deal that we would be out by this time.
Like that was a problem.
Like he's literally been off since January 20th.
Well, not there's how many
when he knows about that deal that happened, and you waited till September 11th. He goes, no, we're gonna get everybody out by September 11th, knowing that the May 4th deal. It's the May 4th. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
The May deal that Trump had with the Taliban.
The Mayflower.
The Mayflower deal, and he knew about it, but decided to ignore it, and then waited. Like this is why this is why the fucking bomber came by.
Bro, and the stupid thing about that is that people believe Joe Biden when he said, I respected Trump. Bitch, how many shit did you override the moment you became president?
Let's put a pin in this because we are going to talk about Biden later. We're in All Teachers Are Bastards.
All Teachers Are Bastards.
Because as you can tell by All Teachers Are Bastards, it stems from something certain that just branches out to all these different things we talk about. But I want to stay focused here. Let's get out of this one. We talked about the hottie who was fired. for
I'm
the
telling you, bro, I
pride
bet
flag.
you she stinks, dude. I bet you she stinks and has hairy armpits.
But before we get into the next, the Project Veritas, let's just get a little palate cleanser here, because school boards are going to be involved in the next one. But I'd like to watch this quick little video of a school board announcing the next speakers' names. So this is a quick 1 minute, 15 seconds for you guys.
You guys work for us in this environment. You answer to us, and I'm asking that you do not pass this policy in Virginia.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you so
in
much,
this
Ms.
county.
Thomas. We do appreciate you. Phil McCracken.
Anybody?
Phil McCracken.
Next.
Suk Mahidik.
Obviously an Asian.
Suk Mahidik.
My dick. She must not be here.
Ophelia McHawk.
Ophelia McHawk.
McHawk.
Oh, no, she's not here either.
Eileen Dover. Eileen Dover.
He's looking for her. Nope, not here.
no.
Don Kedick.
Donkey Dick. As he strokes his pen.
Donkey dick.
Wayne Kerr.
Wanker.
Obviously an English joke.
Wanker.
That's
You're
too good.
bloody wanker.
My favorite was Donna Kedick.
Donkey dick.
Don
Donkey
Kedick.
Bro,
Big
that's what
fluffy donkey dick.
Bro, we need to just fucking waste their time the way that we waste our fucking time, bro. And just write all those fucking funny ass names. They're just sitting there waiting for people.
So good. Barry McCockiner. All right.
Barry
So
McCockiner.
Project Veritas. God, they are an unstoppable force. However, their headquarters
Oh yeah,
flooded. They lost everything. Their wall of shame and everything. So
The Wall of Shame.
that's right.
Well, at least they
The
had it on film.
Retracto, the correction alpaca.
At least they had it on film.
So this comes from the New York Post here, and I'll tell you more a little later from other publications, but this is from New York Post. Antifa teacher who wanted to indoctrinate students to reportedly be fired. So here's a picture of this guy. Looks like a typical leftist. He's got a
Typical
hammer
leftist,
sickle. As you can see, he's got that V tattoo right there from 1984. Yes, that's right. The one that they're all. What does that one mean? I know James O'Keefe told us what that meant, but I'm not familiar what
Is
what
it from
that.
1984? The book?
It's from the movie at the
the
very
movie.
least. The V from 1984.
V from Vendetta?
1984 series. What's
Oh,
the
shit.
coincidence that there was a 1984 series called V? No, that's definitely. Maybe you should go V.
Logo?
Yeah, it
V?
doesn't matter. Skip it. So a public school teacher in California, again California, you guys, reportedly set to be fired after being seen on video praising Antifa. And we got a phone call. I was glad that we got phone calls because we need to talk to some people about what's going on here. But
Definitely.
thank you for calling. You are on the air. What's your name?
What's your name?
I'm Carlos. What's your name?
I'm David.
Carlos and David.
Yes, sir. How you doing today?
David, you voted for Joe Biden, didn't you?
I'm sorry?
Are you there? Turn down your
Oh,
TV.
Carlos, you voted for. Carlos voted for Joe Biden, right?
No, I did not vote for Joe Biden.
No, he did not. I made sure of that.
Why would I vote for that fucking idiot?
Yeah, none of us voted for Biden. We voted for Trump.
Well,
Although you do sound like one of his
you're a
voters.
liar, because I remember watching your show.
Turn down your TV, dude.
Well,
I'm shutting it down right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know for a fact you said you weren't voting for Trump, which is fine,
Right.
but he was the best we had compared to all these devil worshippers that are running the show now.
Okay. I did say that I wasn't going to vote for him, but do you know who I said I would have voted for?
The Joker? Carmelo? I don't know.
No, you fucking
I
idiot.
don't remember.
Fucking Joe Jorgensen, you fucking piece of shit.
He said he wanted to vote for Joe Jorgensen because she had boobs.
Do you watch the show, man? Are we?
Well,
do
he
you
said
ever hear me touting fucking Joe Biden? Do you ever hear me going like, "Oh, this guy's great"? Do you ever hear me defending him? Like, fuck, dude. Like, I defend him when he needs to be defended, but he's a fucking idiot. He does not deserve praise from anybody.
But you
He's a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit, brother.
yes, he is. You're absolutely right. He's a piece of shit. Well, I mean, look.
So let me ask you this: did you guys take the Franken shot?
Yes, I took the shot. I think vaccines work. I think people should get the vaccine. I don't think people should be mandated to get it.
See, you know what? I think it's my business, and I shouldn't be telling anybody what I do with my body.
Yeah, but you just admitted you took it, right?
I mean, I'm telling you, I
No.
may have and I may have not. It's up to somebody to
He
decide
had.
whether or not I have, but I'm not going to tell anybody whether or not I have.
That's what
So
somebody
you
who
trust
hasn't got it.
Fauci and Bill Gates?
Well, you know, I'll tell you this much. I trust Fauci as far, not as far as I can throw him, because he looks like a little motherfucker. I could probably throw him real far. I'm going to tell you this much. I don't trust Fauci at all. I think Fauci is a lying son of a bitch, and we've been calling out Fauci since day one.
I trust Fauci.
Hold on. Don't get it twisted. We've been calling out Fauci since day one.
That's right.
I've been saying how Fauci has lied. I was talking about how the virus was a chimera of many other viruses that were sawed and put together, and how scientists were coming out saying, yo, this virus, it was man-made. This virus was not something that happened in the wild. So I've been calling that shit out since day one, my brother.
I love that. Okay, so you know what's going on then.
You damn right I know what's going on, man. That's what I'm trying to get Los to see.
You guys are fucking idiots. Shut the fuck up, both of you guys. Vaccines work, and all of a sudden now vaccines don't work because, Trump brought this on. Okay?
And, okay, Trump brought this on, and
Look, I took it. I'm fine. What the fuck are you guys talking about? Am I going to wait? So you guys think I'm going to die or something?
In a couple of years, see how you feel in a couple of years.
I'll tell you what. If I'm still alive in a couple of years, are you going to keep touting that this was that did not? What are you going to do in a couple of years when I'm still alive, or everybody that took it is still alive?
Well, not
You think? Look,
hold on.
listen to your conspiracy. You
No,
think
no.
because somebody took a vaccine that most of the population's going to die from
No,
it?
you said everybody that's what happens in the next couple of years when everybody who took the vaccine is still alive. There's already people who taken the vaccine and have died.
Yeah, that's it.
So you can't say everybody,
There's a lot of people
right?
that have taken the shot
Okay,
and
hold up a
died.
second here. What's the percentage of those people that have died from
No,
from the COVID shot?
Bro, I'm just going with Democrats' talking point when they say one life is too many. One life that's died from a vaccine shot is too many.
Let me tell you something. Yeah, so do you play by the rules then?
No.
Okay, so stop trying to
know you
use
know
the
I go
arguments
for-
like you believe it. Like when you say
know.
my body, my choice, you're like, my body, my choice. Okay, that being said, okay, fine. Yeah, mask mandates, your body, your choice. Are you going to use that same argument against when somebody tries to say abortion, my body, my choice? You have to be intellectually honest with yourself,
I
and you
am.
can't use one example and then ignore that example, and the next when somebody else gives you a different example.
Well, that's not the
If
same
they
example.
want to kill their kid, go for it.
I already told you that. Shut this guy down. Shut this guy off. Shut the fuck up, asshole. Look,
I couldn't understand what he was saying.
yeah, because he's a
No, but
he's as doddering as fucking Joe Biden.
Well, the thing with what you're saying when it comes to abortion.
No, okay, yes, we're not going to get into that now.
Yeah,
But when I say my body, my choice, I have a problem with them saying that already and what it actually means.
Yes.
But you can't use that example because that means you're okay with my body, my choice, and their example is my body, my choice.
And I'm saying, as someone as a libertarian, I give them that. Your body, your choice, right? And that's why I even say with the mask mandates, I'm implementing what you believe. Like, you're the one that says my body,
Let's
my
see.
choice.
How many people have died after getting the vaccine? Between December 2020 and July 19, 2021, VAERS received 6,207 reports of death. That is 0.0018% of doses among people who got vaccine. But this does not mean the vaccine caused these deaths. Doctors and safety monitors carefully review the details of each case to see if it might be linked to the vaccine. There are 3 deaths that appear to be linked to blood clots that occurred after people got the J&J vaccine. 3. You think you're what? You think you
No.
guys are like the lucky ones to go buy a lotto ticket? 1 in a million chance. It's not even 1 in a million. 1 in like 52 million chances of winning the lotto, which is death here. You think you're gonna be that lucky one that dies?
No, that's why I don't play the lottery.
So you don't play the lottery at all. I mean, who does play the lottery? A lot of people do. But you don't want to take the vaccine because you think it's going to kill you?
No, that's not why I'm not gonna take. I can't remember the last time I took a vaccine. I believe in living a healthy lifestyle, eating right, taking vitamins, taking your medicines, exercising, doing all these.
What do you think vitamins are?
Like eating natural herbs, eating
What
zinc.
do you think natural herbs are?
Eating zinc, drinking silver, doing like.
Will you pull up the chemical compound of an apple for me? And we're going to look at these names, and you're going to be like,
No,
these names are fucking crazy. I don't want this in my body.
But
it's the chemical compound of an apple.
What you're doing is you're taking creation and you're breaking it down to a scientific form, which is then saying that's Leslie Knope right there. Which then is saying, okay, you're saying everything goes back to science. That's not what I'm saying. There's a difference between something.
Look at this. Hydroxysomatic acids. Crazy fucking... That sounds like something you don't want in your body, right? These kind of weird things. Science names. Fucking science name. Long fucking names that sound scary with a number at the end. 82.
There's a difference between something that comes from Earth that has been made for us. Again, this is why I always say the distinction is...
Can you go to the same tab, different tab, chemical compound of the vaccine?
So this is what I mean by there's a distinction between Christians and non-Christians, people who are spiritual and non-spiritual. Because at the end of the day, people look at science and say, well, everything can be broken up to science. So this is science.
Why aren't vaccines like miracles of God to you?
I'm not saying they're not.
But they are, though, right?
If
we created them, God created them.
Is medicine?
God gave us the will to create these vaccines. Why aren't we using them?
Yeah, and I'm not saying I don't, right? I take NyQuil. I take aspirin, right? I use Band-Aids. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that these things are bad. What I'm saying, like I've said before, even in our text messages, the way that they're trying to implement this is wrong.
And I can 100% agree with you.
And that's where my shadiness for the vaccine comes in.
So just because they're touting it and saying that we should get it, you're like, I'm not doing that.
It's not just that. It's Trump fucking... Is Trump...
All right, let's give him a chance here.
Is Trump doing the warp speed and saying, okay, bring it out, and not going through the proper testing they should be going through?
All right, dude, you're back on the air. Don't disappoint me.
So I personally know 10 people. I'm not lying about this.
Okay.
That's why I'm calling you. 10 people that have died from it.
Died from the vaccine.
That know someone that has died from taking the shot.
Like diagnosed, they took the shot and they died because of taking the vaccine. It wasn't any underlying anything.
They were dead. You can call it any kind of death you want. Hours later, the next day, the next week, dead. Bye-bye.
Like in a car accident?
No.
Why are you laughing if your friends died?
No, because you're saying a car accident. That's funny, you say a car accident. No.
Hey, look, I'm just trying to get some more context. You can tell me all you want. I don't know listen, most of the people in my life have taken the vaccine. I don't know one person who's died from taking it. So... Are you special? Are your observations much more legit than mine?
Did you predict the 1989 World Series earthquake the first day of the baseball season? Watching the Oakland A's and knowing there was going to be a World Series earthquake and Oakland was going to be in it, and the day it happened, called it? Did you predict the Kuwait War?
I'll tell you what I did predict. A very terrible phone call from you. Thanks for calling.
Don't hang up on me.
You fucker. I don't like that guy. Who the fuck is that guy? He was the one that used to call him like, "Oh, Jimmy, we fucked you in the ass, Jimmy."
I was trying to look that up. He almost sounded a little like Rob in the beginning.
Yeah, Rob's at
Rob,
least
we miss
at least
you.
Rob like made a little bit of sense. And this is like the opposite of Rob. This is Boar.
Man, I can't find it. There's something my wife had shared with me also that
Yeah, it is that same number.
Yeah.
that
He used to call us and leave messages like 3 o'clock in the morning.
that a lot of the deaths that are counted, that a lot of the things that are said that are COVID deaths, if somebody takes a vaccine and if they die within 2 weeks or less of the vaccine, it's counted as a COVID death and not a death of the vaccine. And that's what I mean. You know, there was something that we're talking about today.
So their case of COVID killed them because the vaccine didn't work well enough.
but how do you know if they had COVID?
Well, let me ask
They-
you.
first you
let me ask you a question. We've seen a rise of cases, right?
Mm-hmm.
What hasn't rised up with it is the death count.
Mm-hmm.
What's the like the same the winter spike? We had a lot of cases and a comparable death spike. What's the difference between that winter spike and the spike that we have now? Could it be that we all got vaccinated and there's a lot less death when people get it now? There's a lot of there's a lot of natural immunity out there. Natural immunity from our hard hat over here. He's calling again.
Well, and how,
Get him one more time. This is it.
And how much did we say herd immunity was a good way to go?
We did say that a lot.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, dude, you're back on the air. Fucking make some sense today.
I'm just trying to wake you pickle brains up
Like,
about
what do you want
what's
me to
really
do?
going on.
What do you want me to do?
This whole COVID thing was about taking a shot. Hey, do you know what the Georgia Guidestones are? Have you,
Yes,
have
sir.
you ever heard of those Georgia Guidestones? About killing. Do you know about the New World Order? No.
Dude,
They're
we do
planning
know about
to
the Georgia
kill
Guidestones.
90% of the world's
Bro,
population.
all right,
That's
hey,
what we're seeing right now.
Alex Jones, take it easy,
No,
okay, dude?
well,
Listen, we
hold on.
talked about the Georgia Guidestones to not have a population that does not that exceeds 500 million, right? That's what it's that's number one on there. So you're saying that the vaccine is the Georgia Guidestones have prophesized the vaccine that this is what's going to bring the population down to 500 million. Is that what you're trying to tell me right now?
The shot is going to bring the population down to what they plan for 2030, the agenda. That's a fact. I don't care. You don't have to believe me. I'm just
I
trying to
don't.
wake you pickle brains up.
Yeah, bro, you don't gotta wake me up. I'm woke, bro. So
With a cool mustache, he believes me. You with the beard, you're a pickle brain.
Yeah,
Your
man.
brain's pickle.
I don't drink the pickle juice. That's
should-
one thing I don't do. I love pickles, but not the
we
juice.
should call this episode
I like
Pickle
the
Brain.
Juice. The pickle juice is good.
I bet you love juice, you fag.
Hey, fuck you, you motherfucker.
I'm just
Hey, I'm
kidding.
gonna come there and kick your goddamn ass, rip your cock off, and shove it up your goddamn ass, you faggot.
Are you going to like stuff it with something first? What if it's like limp? Like, how are you going to shove it in my ass if it's like limp? And it's not that very big either. So like, I don't know. Your fingers are going up in that ass. So
he's gonna put your dick on his dick and then.
Oh, you're making me throw up. I'm gonna puke.
all right. Hey,
I'm gonna
thanks for
fucking
calling.
puke myself.
Yes, thanks for calling again. That's it. No more answering his call for
Well,
now.
okay, so I don't want to disregard what he was saying also, because
I don't endorse any of these theories that he's, and whether or not they're conspiracy theories, I don't care. But,
But
these theories
no,
that
no.
this vaccine is the first step to the Georgia Guidestones prophecy of 500 million population
why wouldn't
is
you?
absolutely ridiculous.
why is it ridiculous?
Because the people that have taken it, like the illuminaries and the people that are touting it for us to take, that have been film taking it. Do you think that they are just trying to kill everybody, the ones that are paying them? Like this whole thing of they're trying to get rid of us or whatever is ridiculous, knowing that there's going to be a big swath of people like you, your folk, right, that are like, I'm saying Mexicans, not Christians or anything, or anti-vaxxers. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what you mean by
Yeah.
you folks. I'm a lot.
By
I'm a lot
you
in one.
people.
I don't know what you mean by,
By you people.
That could be racist. That could be.
There's a
prejudice.
lot of people that aren't going to take it.
Mhm.
So does it count for that? Like they're the ones that they're just going to listen. If there was this attempt to drop the population down to 500 million from the biggest celebrities or the bigs of industry, whatever, do you think that you have a fucking chance of living if this was for real?
Yes.
Do you think? No, you don't.
Yes.
You
Yes,
don't.
I do.
You don't. You don't have access to the fucking bombs or weapons. You have a gun. You think, oh yeah, I'm protected.
No, bro.
They own guns you can't conceive of.
No, that again, what does the Bible say? That we do not war with the flesh and blood. We're not warring with physical things. We're warring with spiritual things. That's why I always come back to it has to do with naturalism and supernaturalism, spiritual and non-spiritual. What going to not just the Georgia Guidestones, this has come out of Bill Gates' own mouth. Population control, having to bring the population down. He did a tech talk about it, saying one of these has to go to zero. Laughs, and everybody. The inside joke is people. That's what I'm
Dude,
saying.
they talk about it because it's true.
Yeah, no, they talk.
The resources are not infinite. They're
again,
finite.
No, they're not.
You don't know shit about that. I
And
don't know
neither-
anything
no,
about that.
and
You know
neither
who
do
might know
them.
about it? It's someone that owns a
No.
lot of money that is an entrepreneur, a philanthropist.
No, because that's an ideology, right? Again, looking at this in a spiritual way, who are we to dictate God's world? If God's
Dude, you guys are the ones saying that vaccines are miracles of God, but then
No.
denying them.
No, that's not like. Can vaccines be used for good? Just like a knife? Yes, right? You could use a knife to cut a turkey and feed homeless people, and that's a good thing. You could also use the knife to stab somebody and kill people.
Yeah.
Right? So it isn't the vaccine.
So you don't use knives then?
I do. What I'm saying is
okay.
What I'm saying is it isn't the vaccine that I'm against. It's the heart behind the vaccine. Look at the way they're pushing it. Look at the way they're trying to get people to get it. Look at the way they're dividing us.
Okay,
And when
so
hold on.
Hold up a second.
Hold on.
No, you're discounting the reasons why they're doing it. We got to get off the air here in a second. We'll continue on. But you're discounting the reason why you're doing it. You think that they're doing it because they're evil.
No, yeah, because when you study history, when it's been done this way, right? Rather than saying, hey guys, let us give you the information and let us this and that and doing the things the way they normally do, they're just shoving it down your throat. When you look at history, when you look at the Egyptians, when you look at the Nazis, when you look at the Romans, when you look at all these other civilizations, when it comes to shoving something down your throat, take it, usually it's because they're trying to usurp their power.
Why are they trying to have us take it?
What do you mean?
Why are they trying to have us take the vaccine? We got a minute left.
Honestly?
No, I do mean
Do- do-
honestly, but
do
I don't
you-
need you to go
no.
into a whole tirade. I mean like the 5-second answer. Why are they doing that?
I think it has a lot to do with overtaking our DNA and lessening us as a human race.
It has nothing to do with, reducing COVID deaths.
No.
Oh, see. You're missing one thing in your whole fucking worldview, that those people think they're doing good. Okay? They think they're doing good. They think that getting rid of the virus is the way that we're going to get back to normal. The only way they can do that is tell people, hire luminaries, hire fucking TikTokers to get people to get the
So
vaccine.
I should trust in someone else's opinion.
It's the opinion that vaccines work, that this is a working vaccine.
Nope.
Do you think
Well,
like
it hasn't
do
even
you
been
think
proven.
that- do you
Hasn't
be-
been proven.
Do you believe that the polio vaccine works?
It's been proven to work
Yeah, how did it get proven that it worked?
after many years.
After many years, it was proven to work. But did it work for the people that it worked for when it was being tested?
I'm pretty sure a lot of the first trials ended up being pretty bad and people died of it. You
You're
can look it up
pretty
if you
sure?
want.
You're pretty
yeah, Brandon,
sure.
you want to look that up? How
Hey,
many people
we'll be
died
back
from the
next
polio
week.
vaccine?
We'll see you guys next week. All right, we're back on the other side.
Look that up. How many people died of the polio vaccine?
I just don't understand
well-
why you think all of a sudden, like, this vaccine, which came through fucking Donald Trump's administration, okay?
Which I wasn't for. I wasn't for it when Trump was touting it. I think Trump got persuaded to believe that it was a good thing when it wasn't.
How polio campaign beat vaccine hesitancy, that tainted polio vaccine that sickened and fatally paralyzed children in 1955 was one of the worst biological disasters in American history. Let's see. You just go and highlight something that sounds good. So I just don't understand, like, what makes you think that this is like, what if Donald Trump was still in office? Which
I wouldn't take it.
you wouldn't take it even if he said this is. So
No.
you would think he's behind He's behind the effort
No,
to
because-
reduce the population.
Because with every vaccine, there's a way that you go buy it and say, okay, we got to test it. We got to do this. We got to do that. And not just that, there is a constitutional freedom in which people have whether or not they want to take the vaccine.
Dude,
So-
stop right there. Assume that I know that there are people out there that shouldn't be mandated. I'm with you on that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about efficacy of the vaccine itself and any vaccine out there. Like the first trials, let's say, what do you think happens with this one? Let's say we put it into trials and they find it killed somebody. Do you think they go in and they modify that one little bit or whatever and then put it back out?
Well, that's why they do animal testings, which they haven't done with this vaccine.
They haven't done any animal testing.
No, and I think the animal testing that they have been done with coronaviruses were done with rats, and I think they led to not infertility and cancer.
I just don't get this. Let's say the vaccine does save people because it clearly does.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Listen, the people that have died
no-
from adverse effects of putting a chemical in them is not. It's anecdotal at this point.
Well, no,
it's not like you're gonna be the one that's gonna get it and you're gonna die because you get blood
well,
clot
no.
or something.
This is the thing that you're saying.
This guy took a J&J. Did he get a blood clot?
not that I know of.
Of course he did.
No.
He's still alive. He's sitting right
I know,
here.
I know he is. What I'm saying is this is what you're saying, and I think this is like what the narrative is.
Okay,
The
listening.
narrative is you get COVID, you die.
No,
That's not the narrative.
that's not the narrative.
That has not been the narrative.
It's a narrative to some people, but to me, it's not a narrative.
To
And I'm
you.
the one
No,
talking to you.
I'm not talking to you. I'm saying.
Remember,
So
talk to
who
me.
do you want? Who are you? Are you somebody who's informed about COVID or somebody who's not informed about COVID?
I'm informed about COVID.
In what way?
That I know about what's going on with
Which,
COVID.
which is what? People are dying from it, or people are living even though they've already had it and overcome it.
What you're doing is cherry picking.
No.
Yes,
no.
you
What
are.
I'm doing is saying
When you say this vaccine has killed people, that's cherry picking. Because how many people hasn't it killed? Can you tell me that?
I don't-
90% of them.
yeah, and how many people have died from the vaccine? Like that's what I'm saying. It's what I'm trying to say is the way you look at the virus. If you look at it as a deadly virus,
I don't.
I'm not saying you. I'm
Okay.
saying that the media
Okay.
at large is making it seem like if you get COVID, you're gonna die.
Okay.
Are we in agreement?
Yes.
Right? That's what the media is making it look like.
Of course.
So when you make it look that way,
Uh-huh.
and then people take the vaccine, they're making the vaccine look like a savior. Right?
Yes, of course, because they don't
You-
have God.
Well, no, just because you don't want to die. People are afraid to die.
Yeah. We
Right?
should be afraid of dying.
I'm not afraid of dying. That's a whole nother conversation.
So why not take the vaccine?
Because my beliefs
Your beliefs?
of not taking the vaccine are rooted in the scriptures.
Would you take this if Jesus himself came down and said, this is not what you think it is.
That's
take
too,
that
that's
fucking
way
thing."
too much a hypothetical that I don't even want to fuck around with that.
Hey, it's a hypothetical.
Yeah,
What-
and I'm not
just
gonna,
go ahead.
and I'm not gonna answer it.
Because you'd
But-
say fucking no, because you wouldn't
no,
believe it.
No, because that's something that may never happen.
It
So
will.
why-
It will never happen.
So why would I even mess around with saying it when I don't want to blaspheme the Lord that way? That he would be for something that he probably wouldn't be for.
What?
I don't put words in his mouth.
Right.
Right. But what I'm saying is, when you look at a society that has been told by the media, if you get COVID, you die, and then you look at the percentage of people who gotten COVID and lived, they're going to say, well, look, it's a miracle thing. But when you look at COVID, the way that COVID really is, it isn't if you get it, you die. It's if you get it and you're unhealthy and you have all these pre-existing conditions, you have more of a likely possibility of dying. Well, to someone like me who isn't obese, doesn't have all these pre-existing conditions, is a very healthy, I look at that and say, well, my chance of getting it and dying is super low. Why the fuck would I ever want to get a vaccine?
Bro, I get you.
No, that's what I'm saying. So when somebody tells me, you need to get a vaccine or you're going to...
But you don't know if you have it or not.
What?
And you
am
could
I
spread
sick?
it to someone who... Listen,
That's why they have the vaccine.
you're just like...
That's why they have the vaccine. If I have it and they get it, they have the vaccine to prevent them from dying from it. So I don't need to get the vaccine.
What if their health... What if their health
That's
compromised?
why they have the vaccine. That's why they have the vaccine.
Are you daft, bro?
That's why they have the vaccine.
The vaccine doesn't cure if you're still.
That's why they have the vaccine.
All right.
That's why they wear the mask.
Wait, is that why they had the vaccine?
That's why they have the vaccine, and
okay.
that's why they wear the mask.
Drop it for a second
That's
because
why-
that's not the reason why they got the vaccine.
Why did they get it?
The vaccine protects you in case you get it again. It's not 100% fucking safe.
So then why should I get it?
No vaccine is.
Why should I get it if it's not 100% safe?
Okay.
If I have a way better chance of living with my lifestyle.
Take a breath, and it's not about you. Stop being so selfish for a second.
Okay.
Because what they're concerned about is you, a healthy person, if you get it, you'll be asymptomatic, correct? Right, we've all heard that, right?
Uh-huh.
What if you spread it to somebody that's immunocompromised? That's what they're concerned about.
So what about the people who have the vaccine and are shedding and spreading it even more than people who
You
don't
can
get
still
the vaccine?
carry it. I don't understand what you think that vaccines just kill the fucking disease. It reduces the risk. Do you not understand what that means, reducing the risk? You know when you wear a seatbelt, does that protect
It's like
you
when
die
you wear
if you
a condom,
crash?
it reduces the risk of getting,
Exactly.
Or you could just get married and not have to worry about it.
So get married
What?
to COVID.
No.
Because that's a perfectly
No.
great
No,
argument
no.
you just made, bro.
No, live healthy.
Okay.
Live healthy.
You're right.
No, that's what
You're
I'm
right.
saying.
Live healthy.
No, that's what I'm saying. There's all
Everybody
these other
tomorrow
ways.
live healthy.
No, if you don't want to live healthy, go get the vaccine.
What if they have the vaccine and they died because something like that happened? They got the COVID and it was a very severe case of COVID.
Okay, and how many people were they hanging out with? Am I gonna say, oh, it's because of me? They hung out with me with one day and they died.
Listen, this is the reason
No.
why that the Democrats are so for it, because they, whether or not they say you believe that they care or not, I get what they're saying.
Which is
that we should take a vaccine for a disease that's killing millions of people worldwide. Has it not killed millions of people worldwide?
And has the vaccine killed people also?
As much as COVID has killed
Has
people?
it killed vaccine people also?
As much as
Has
COVID?
it killed people also? It doesn't matter how many
So
people.
one
it
person's
just matters-
enough for you. You're like,
Yeah,
okay, one
no,
person died from the vaccine. That means I'm not
yes,
taking it.
yes.
Fuck it.
Same thing with the Democrats.
You're such an
No,
irrational
I
thinker.
am not
It's crazy.
Why is that irrational?
Okay, one person does it. One person crashes on the. At least one person crashes every minute on our roads. Why doesn't that stop you from driving?
Again, that's what I'm saying.
They're called accidents. You don't get the.
No.
You get
You're
an accident.
proving my point.
How am I proving your point?
Because no, you're proving my point. Because I'm taking my responsibility in my hands of me being a safe driver, and I'm driving my car. I'm not these people who are.
Wait, does that stop you from getting T-boned on accident? Someone running a red light by accident, like it's called an accident, not a purpose.
Yeah, but again, I am making sure.
So if you could protect yourself, maybe let's say, okay, let's use your example. You're a perfect driver. Nothing ever happens. You never have to use GPS to go anywhere. I'm just kidding about that last part because you have to.
I do.
But let's fucking say somebody T-bones you and you're able to take a medicine that would reduce the risk of you dying from that crash later. Would you not take that?
Depends.
It's
No,
a yes or no, fucking
no,
question.
no.
Why do you got to do this like depends shit?
Because this is the thing, right?
It just depends, on the situation. The
listen,
situation's
bro.
what I gave you.
You ain't listening, dude.
Okay, I'm sorry.
This
Go
is
ahead.
the thing. Someone like Kevin Hart and many other people have talked about they've been in accidents and they choose not to get medicine because that medicine makes them addicted to the medicine, which they cannot perform the way they used to, and so they're dependent on the medicine and they live a worse lifestyle. If somebody said, hey, you either take the medicine and you end up being like a vegetable because you become dependent on it, or you still have your body, you learn how to walk again, you learn how to do all this, you fight through the pain, I would choose that route. Because I'm somebody that says, God has given me everything that I need in this world, and I will live that way. That's why for me, when it comes to a vaccine, like, I don't fucking take a lot of shit. It isn't because this is a COVID vaccine. I believe that everything that God has put on this earth, he's put here for us and for our good.
Like a vaccine.
No. Earth.
This is
No,
where we have to separate from
No,
Earth.
it isn't.
The vaccine's made from people that are from the Earth.
Sinful people.
How do you know they're sinful people? Do you know the scientist who invented it? Who's the scientist's name that invented the vaccine?
Bro, everybody's born in sin, bro. From day one, everybody's born crooked. Name me one person other than Jesus who was born and has done everything right.
So the cars we drive were made by a sinful person.
Yeah, definitely.
Then why do we drive cars?
Because we trust ourselves.
Yes, but it's the others that
No.
cause accidents towards us
Yeah,
when we're so
and-
careful.
and
that's what they're talking about with the vaccine. That's what we're talking about with
But-
you having it. If you have it, you're that fucking person that T-bones the person who's a perfect driver.
Nope. Because what if I don't have it?
What if you have it?
But what if I don't?
Okay, this is called a Mexican standoff.
No, this is like Schrodinger's
What if you don't
cat.
have it? They don't get it. Okay, I answered your question. But what if they do have it?
That's why they have the vaccine.
But what if the vaccine is not completely effective?
Then why get the vaccine?
Because it's 90% effective when you get it.
And people have died from the vaccine who have been in pre-existing. So that's what I'm saying. It's like if you're going to get the vaccine to prevent you from getting it, and you're going to be wearing your mask, then if you get it, there's nothing I can do. I'm living my health. Like, I'm worried about me. I'm living my healthy lifestyle. I'm doing what I got to do to be a citizen. I'm doing good. I'm this and this and that.
Look,
but
dude.
you've done all right. Like, if you're getting the vaccine, and if you're going out and doing all these things, then again, you should be held as responsible as I am because you're the one going out.
Do you think I'm a smart guy?
Yeah, of course I do.
You respect me.
Of course I do.
Why do you think I got the vaccine?
I have no idea.
Like, honestly,
okay,
reflect
okay.
and think, why would Lowe's, somebody that
If you want me to
You
be
respect
honest,
or
if you want me
say
to be
you do.
honest with you and tell you why I think you got the vaccine, I feel like you did it for the betterment of other people.
Yes.
I think you were saying, hey, you
That's
know what?
exactly why
Yeah,
I did
I
it.
know, and that's what I'm saying. It's like if you were just kind of like, hey, people are saying I need to take it for this. My work is this. I want to do this and that, so I'm just going to do it because whatever.
No. It's in a way, yes, it's like that. But mostly what you said, it's socially responsible. I don't know if I have it, right? I won't know. And I'm not as healthy as you, but I probably would be asymptomatic if I got it. And that would be shameful if I got it if I gave it to somebody who can't get the vaccine because of their health problems. What if they died based on that? I wouldn't want that on my conscience. I wouldn't want that. Would you want that on your conscience?
Well, no, of course I wouldn't.
Well, you wouldn't. That's why I took
Yeah,
the vaccine.
but-
I don't care what everybody else does in their life. All I know is that if I do get it, I have a very low chance of passing it on later or even getting it in the first place. That's because of the vaccine. Matter of fact, I think I have super blood because two of my best buddies sat 2 feet away from me while they both had it and I didn't catch it, okay? But I still took the fucking thing. You know, it's because I just don't want to have to deal with the bullshit later. And I'll gladly take a booster shot because I believe vaccines have worked in our past. I don't know any one vaccine that got rolled out, and maybe you guys can educate me, that rolled out nationally and then had to be pulled because everybody died from it.
There's a lot. There's even chicken vaccines that were given to chickens that were killing them and shit. Like, there's a lot of vaccines that were, but even
During human trials.
and what I'm saying is, even with your analogy, it is also, why am I held responsible and you're not, right? If you're the one choosing to come out in the midst of COVID and knowing that you are putting your life at risk for coming out in this place, why am I responsible for your death? You also chose to come out, right? The person who T-boned me in that analogy, they chose to also drive.
Yeah.
We're both responsible.
Right.
But what the left is saying, no, you're responsible. I'm not. I took the vaccine. The responsibility's gone with me.
Well, I
But
definitely can
no.
agree with that because they will blame like that whole walkout that we talked about over text this week earlier. The not teachers, the doctors walked out or whatever, right?
Yeah, the doctor.
They're getting sick of dealing with unvaccinated people, and it's like whatever, unvaccinated people, are they spreading it? Like there's so much stupid information out there. It's hard to fucking sparse out who's fake, who's just fucking crazy. Because to me, both sides are acting fucking nutty. When I hear you say things, I'm like, you're acting nutty. I don't care if you get the vaccine or not, right?
But
I believe that you should.
Uh-huh.
I'm never going to fucking force you, nor am I ever going to vote on mandates or enforce mandates like that.
You still hang out with me.
I love you.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Look.
I'm not worried about it. And I may have, when they caught it, I debated or not whether I should tell people at work. But the guilt got me. Now, you know me, I'm not a big fan of all that media that will say COVID kills people.
Yeah.
I'm not. But I still felt a sense of responsibility to do that, to go get tested, to make sure I am not spreading it. Because I still had to go to work. I interact with customers. I felt a responsibility that I should at least know if I have it or not. So I took both the test and an antibodies because I may have gotten it and I'm perfectly fine and I have antibodies. And then I can go, I got natural immunity. Like, if anything, you should want to get COVID so that you have natural immunity.
Yeah, well, and that's something I've been saying on the show since day one is pretty much this is just another flu, and that's the way I've treated it. So again,
Except flu kills kids like way more than COVID does.
Right? And nobody
Exactly.
No, what I'm saying is
Exactly.
but nobody is saying because of the flu, wear your mask, take the vaccine, and do this and do
Dude,
that. And if you don't
my
do
boss
it, you're
was
gonna...
all saying, "Oh, masks work." Flu was basically disappeared last year. I was like, I didn't want to say anything because all the managers around, and I'm like, I'm not gonna be like, this is come on, man. I'm not looking to get into this argument with you right now.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. I am not trying to tell people Santa doesn't exist. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to say is, if I don't want to believe in Santa, let me not believe in him. Right?
Fair enough.
And that's it. It's like, look, if you want to take the vaccine,
Do you not believe in Santa?
Of course I don't.
What? Do you believe he ever existed?
I believe there was a Saint Nick.
Who is Saint Nick?
I don't remember. Apparently, it was some guy in history who was like running orphanages or doing some shit like that. I can't remember.
Seems like a good guy to me.
Yeah, no,
That's a legacy you want right
but,
there.
I mean,
To be
kind of.
forever like
The jolly
immortalized.
old-
Yeah, you're like the guy. Like,
well,
dude,
almost like Valentine.
like his fucking suit. I don't know if he wore
A red suit.
a red and white suit and had a beard and round glasses, but like that's a legacy.
That's
right
Coca-Cola right there.
there. That's fucking
That's Coca-Cola.
The polar bears and shit.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like I said, if other people want to take the vaccine and say that is making you feel better and you feel safe that way, by all means, like I said,
But
and
you don't play that game. You play that it kills people. Like you play that game.
no. When I only play that game when people say why, like when people are trying to press me on like you should take it, why don't you take it? And I'm like, look, I have lived 35 years in this body, avoided many vaccines.
Did you go to public school here in Texas?
Yeah.
Then you would have had to show proof of your vaccinations.
Bro, I'm fucking Mexican, bro, and I went to the fucking Valley schools. They don't give a shit about any of that. Come on, dude. Like
public schools, period, require you to show proof of
Bro.
vaccination. So you have been vaccinated for things, whether you know it or not.
No, that's what I'm saying. I may have, like, if that ever happened.
Right.
You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, from my own being an adult, hey, I want to get vaccinated. However, 15 years that it's been, whatever long, I have not.
Do you remember when this thing first hit us? And I don't know if you were on the show just yet, but I think it was Jimmy, and somebody called in, and this was going.
No, I was on the show.
I don't think you were on just yet, because Jimmy was still on the show because it was just hitting us, right? The COVID was just hitting us, and there were those protests happening in Hong Kong. Remember the Free Hong Kong protests? And my theory when this first happened was like, oh man, well fucking the Wuhans got that. The Chinese did that so that they can stop those protests or whatever, right? Some guy called in and said, oh no, they got everything they wanted. There's no way that could have happened. I go, well, could this have been at least man-made? And he was like, oh well, yeah, that's a possibility. We talked about that early.
We went in depth.
Like we didn't go in depth, but this is like my theories of what was going on. That they were doing that to try to stop. Now, that being said, do you believe that this was made in a lab? You said it's man-made.
Yes.
Now, is it too far of a stretch to keep going on with that line of thinking that this is something that they've known that they were going to do, right? And rolling out a vaccine would have been another way of doing it. Now, rolling out the vaccine would help cure everybody of it, at least a lot of them, right? And therefore showing that we can trust the government, which is what it's really doing. It's to try to go, oh, I trust the government. Like all of a sudden people that we knew growing up that would be like, fuck the police, fuck the government. Like, especially the ones that say fuck the police today.
Yeah.
Do you think they're the ones who voted for Trump? No, goddamn right.
Yeah,
They're the ones that voted for the other sides or on the left policies. They're the ones fucking doing that. So that being said, those lefties can suck a dick.
Well, and even with what you're saying, like, if this is really big conspiracy theory, but if it was made, if it was man-made in order to give it to people so that they can contract this virus, and then they roll out the vaccine. And Dave Chappelle talks about this in a stand-up where, you know,
Make them reliable on the government.
yeah, that's what Dave Chappelle talks about with pimps and prostitutes. Like, they beat them to a way to make them feel like they're trusted and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Don't make me hit you. I didn't want to have to hit you.
Exactly.
I love you,
now,
girl.
Now, if you're trying to say COVID is real because the government released it, it's a deadly virus they released,
Yeah.
and the cure to the virus is the vaccine.
Which they sell themselves,
they
and
sell
the government will buy from them.
Exactly, which almost like drug dealers do the same thing.
Okay.
And then you say, therefore, will you take the vaccine?
No. We're taking too far of a leap.
Uh-huh.
But essentially, the idea is that the vaccine does work because they knew it was going to work. They knew they were going to roll this. Like, if we're going to walk this line, they knew they were going to release this. They knew they planned all this shit out. That's why we're able to get a vaccine so quick, right? They skipped all those lines because they were able to do everything that you were able to do to get a vaccine approved in this amount of time. By the way, the FDA approves of that virus, of that vaccine now. So whether or not this whole thing, like, see, at some point, you're going to have to stop with like, oh, it's untested, because at this point, millions of doses have been administered and the percentage are in.
Well, the lady who approved this also approved the OxyContin to kids and other shit like that. So it's kind of hard to say, hey, the FDA approved it. But to go to your point,
Wait, like to kids that need Oxycontin? You know what kind of kids need Oxycontin?
Do you know
like
how-
cancer
do you
patients,
know
the
how-
ones that are dying?
do you know how
Do you think they just
OxyContin-
give it to like fucking?
Do you know how OxyContin hurts fucking people?
Dude, I do know. It is.
Yeah.
It is very addictive. But you know why they prescribe it for people?
Why?
Because they're dying.
And you know
they
what I-
need relief from dying. They're suffering. They
Uh-huh.
need a little bit of like get them out of this fucking world
know-
that they're suffering
Yeah,
in.
and you know what I would do?
Yeah, you'd probably sit there and take it because this is
No,
what
no,
God
no.
wants.
No, I would preach them the gospel.
Yeah,
I would
'cause
love
that's
them.
yeah,
I
you
would
can
love
still
them.
do that too.
I would make them right, like.
But
why-
the pain is
no,
so
no.
unbearable.
Why
You
do-
won't know because you're so healthy. You may not have
No.
experienced this type of pain that they're
No,
doing.
no, I've
Their
gone through-
hearts being eaten
No,
away from the inside. Why not give them some fucking heroin so that they can feel a little
Because
better?
you know what, men and women who were burned at the stake for the sake of the gospel didn't ask for any fucking medicine.
Yeah, but they
Right?
didn't
No,
have
no, no,
heroin
men,
back
no,
then.
men and women who are getting their fucking head cut off for the sake of the gospel.
When did
didn't
that
need any
happen?
of that. Hundreds of years ago.
Yeah, they
Right?
didn't
No,
have
no,
they
no,
didn't have
and-
OxyContin
no,
back then.
And who cares? Because they probably wouldn't have taken it either way.
You know, you're
right?
using an
No, no,
example
and-
from very long ago that does not apply to world
what
today.
What I'm
that we
saying
live
is,
in.
look at how much of a punk ass people we are.
We are
can't
punk-ass
that we,
people, that's
that we
fucking
can't
true.
suffer well.
Yeah, you're right.
That says a lot about us. We can't. So no, to go to what you're saying, if the government rolled this out, created a vaccine because they knew that they're going to sell it in order, I would still not take it because you know what? I trust way more in Jesus than I do the government.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You know,
I trust way more in Jesus than I do the government. And if they're going to let out a vaccine that will
nothing
kill
short of Jesus himself coming down and telling me to take this
Nothing.
this vaccine will
me,
not get
you know
me to
why?
take
Because
it.
the Bible, especially the way that De Blasio and other people are talking about it, you can't buy, you can't sell. The Bible says that's the mark of the beast.
Yeah, you can't
So-
buy, you can't sell. What?
You can't buy things, you can't go, you can't travel. Like I can't go to in New York. If I don't have the vaccine, I can't go to a grocery store and buy shit if I don't have the vaccine.
Well,
I
you
can't
know,
go
gay
out.
people can't go to that cake shop and buy get a custom cake.
Yeah, but
made.
they can go somewhere else and get another cake,
Yeah.
right?
Okay, so people in New York can't go somewhere else and buy their cigarettes.
Yeah, and which they will, right? But what are they doing? They're limiting, right? They're saying you can't do this, you can't do that. With that person,
That I don't agree with.
no, with that person, again, there is religious freedom. There's freedoms that you can decide. Hey, I don't want to sell you.
Speaking
a cake.
of which, go
Hey,
down to the last link. 'Cause
hey,
I have this link here for
you don't
you,
want
buddy.
you don't want to sell me a cake. Cool. I'm gonna go to this other person with the vaccine. We don't have that, right? They're not saying in New York, they're not giving you religious freedom. They're not even giving you medical freedom. They're saying you have to take it. What the Bible says, that's mark of the beast.
Yeah, but
So
you
s-
can go to New Jersey or a neighboring county or neighboring state and live there and
Of course
without any
you can.
restriction.
Yes, not right now because it's fucking flooded.
Until-
because it's flooded right now, so you can't do that.
Until the whole fucking country does this.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Johnny Mac.
So here's your boy Johnny MacArthur
bro.
here, and speaking of religious liberties and such here, John MacArthur reaches $800,000 settlement with California and LA County in COVID dispute. Now, if you guys know anything about what's going on here, what's going on? You couldn't fucking praise. You couldn't go. They locked it down. They said you can't even go to churches. Strip joints? Sure. What about fucking CBD stores? Go for it. Church? fucking no.
Strip clubs. You can go to a strip club.
I don't know. Was it a strip club? Yeah.
Yeah.
You can go to a strip club. You can go to all these other places. So this comes
You can
from
have naked women dance on you.
this comes from David's favorite publication, ChristianToday.com.
Don't say that. Not Christianity Today. I don't even. Okay, that's
No. It's
Today.
Christian Today, not Christianity.
I'm
Today.
not gonna. Don't say that. I like that shit. I don't put my name on anything that I haven't researched.
Okay.
So
Hey,
don't
man,
say.
you will not fucking bully my name.
Well,
here.
because I'm like Christianity Today. Fuck those people, dude. Christianity Today is a bunch of fucking bullshit.
But Christian Today,
I don't know them, so I got to do my research on them.
they have one
But-
extra Y in that other one. I'm not into it.
But they're
Too many Ys for Christians.
But they're talking about Johnny Mac, so I'm willing to hear him out.
A long-running dispute between John MacArthur, the state of California, and Los Angeles County over COVID-19 lockdown rules appears to finally be at an end. LA County and California will each pay $400K in legal fees to MacArthur's Grace Community Church, and you know they don't have to pay a cent in taxes on that bad boy. Lawyers for the LA, why don't they have to pay tax? Like churches and shit.
Oh well, no, but it's only for legal fees. They're not collecting the money. They're not making.
Oh, I know they're not making
Yeah,
any money, but I'm asking sort of separately outside of that. Like, why wouldn't they have to pay?
It's almost like teachers and all that kind of stuff. There's like some tax exemption for shit like that.
I wish I can just because there's a couple people
Well, you
that
can
like
with businesses. You have business. There's businesses you can get tax or even nonprofits.
They're
you can do tax
essentially they're
exemptions.
essentially a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're exempt from certain taxes.
Because they don't. I mean, other
I
than
mean, I
tithing.
get that part because I have to deal with that at work. There will be people from like UT that want something, and they're like, "Oh, hey, you charge me tax." I'm like, "Yeah, because we're in America," and they're like, "No, we're tax exempt." I'm like, "What?" So I guess taxing something that we get taxed for is already out. I hate taxes. Period. I
do
think
too.
taxes are fucking unconstitutional.
But I did hear Johnny Mac talk about that with the lawsuit they didn't want money from them. They would just have them cover the legal fees because they're putting them through so much bullshit just for the sake of getting them in court and trying to get them to spend money.
That's right. Lawyers for the LA County told the Los Angeles Daily News that the decision reflected recent Supreme Court rulings against some COVID-19 public health measures for places of worship. Quote, after the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that some public health safety measures could not apply to houses of worship, resolving this litigation is the responsible and appropriate thing to do, they said. From the onset of COVID-19 pandemic, Los Angeles County has been committed to protecting the health and safety of its residents. Los Angeles County has been committed to protecting the health and safety of its residents. There's a thing going around. People are dying from it. They are trying to, they're just trying to keep people from dying. Like, how you remember how I talked to you about last week when, you're like, you want to.
Can you look up what's the chance of dying if you get COVID?
Yeah, it's super low. Like, I know the chances, right?
Oh, so what are they?
They're like, you have 99% chance of like living once you get it, right?
Oh.
Yeah. I get it. Those arguments, they're not going to work with me.
It's not a pandemic.
It's not a pandemic.
Nope.
How is it not a pandemic?
You have a 99.9% chance of living. What pandemic that's ever happened in the world has had a 99.9% chance of living?
Yeah, but you understand they're...
No. What pandemic that's happened throughout history all over the world
To answer your question,
has had
no.
a 99% chance?
to answer your question, I don't know. Okay?
Not a one.
Yes.
Brandon, please.
But
Prove me wrong. Please prove me wrong.
I don't understand this line of thinking. Like, we can talk about the
Well,
numbers.
hang on. I mean, I think where you're wrong is the definition of a pandemic is an event where a disease spreads across several countries affecting a large
Yes,
number of
thank
people.
you.
It has nothing to do with death.
So I'm thinking epidemic.
No, I think those are just epidemic.
Epidemic
is more localized.
it's localized. It's
More
national.
Oh, okay.
Pandemic means
You're
it's worldwide.
you're thinking this just implies death. No, this is just involves a
Kind of like the
mass
spread of it.
infection. Yeah, the spread
okay.
of it. Yeah, it
I
has
mean-
nothing to do with
So
the death.
again, even so,
Like, think about those movies like Congo or something. You
'Cause-
know, like those, like when a disease goes out, like they fear that it may kill
Yes.
people.
So that's even the thing. Again, going back to what I was saying in the beginning, people think, because if you were to ask me what is a pandemic, I would have said it isn't only the widespread of a virus, it is the death in which it causes.
right.
That's what, to me, a pandemic is the death in which the illness causes. to me, if it was like 20 or 30%, it'd be like, oh, that's a fucking pandemic. 50%, you're in a motherfucking, y'all in a pandemic. But so to me, that's what I would see a pandemic to be, is not just the spread of the virus, but the death that it causes.
Yeah.
That's what I would see it as.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I mean, I fight for you for all these things, right? I don't care if you get it or not. I want you to get it. I really do want you to get it, but I don't care. I'm safe. I'm going to be okay. But
So am I.
I mean, you don't know that.
No, I know
Just like
that.
you don't know you're gonna.
Bro.
Listen.
I
Here's
know
the thing.
that, bro. I know I'm gonna be good, bro. That's the thing. The thing is this: what do you define ultimately as good?
What do you mean good? Like I don't want to die from it. Period.
So then we have two different definitions of good.
Don't get too cocky, my boy.
No, because that's the thing. And the Bible is so true, dude. Like the more that I fucking think about it, it's like the Bible is so true. The one thing Satan has over everybody in the world is the fear of death.
See, that's the thing too. You apply like people that want you to get it, not me per se, but like you think the people that are pushing for you to get it are devils or they're demons
No,
or
don't
they're
say that.
evil.
Don't say that.
They're
I
evil.
do not believe that at all.
Okay.
I do not believe that.
Okay.
What I'm saying is what the Bible says is the only thing Satan has over the world is the fear of death. You've proved that right, dude. People are afraid to die. That's why they don't want to get COVID.
Why are people afraid to die?
Because they don't know what's going to happen when they die.
Or there are things. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's one reason.
No, that is the reason.
No, there's lots of reasons.
Why
people
are
don't
you
wanna
afraid to die?
Because I want to live and have and create a family and be able to have a legacy and be able to see children grow up.
So what if the afterlife is better than that?
What if there's no afterlife?
But what if the afterlife
But what if there's no afterlife?
Then
what if there's no afterlife?
Okay.
What if there's no afterlife?
What the scripture says is I'm from all men.
But I don't believe in the scripture.
Okay, and I'm letting you know what the scripture says about me.
Yeah.
If there is no afterlife, pity me.
So if there's no, so I should pity you right now.
Yeah. If there is,
I don't want to pity you.
No. If Jesus,
if you want to believe in heaven, that's cool.
No. Pity me. Give me pity. If Jesus never died and resurrected, and if there is no afterlife, what the Bible says is you should look at me with pity.
Like, so they're saying in the Bible, if you don't believe us, just go ahead and pity us.
Yeah.
I don't believe in doing that. I
look
respect
at,
you. Why would I pity you?
Because you're saying, man, you believe that there's a resurrection.
No.
Man, you believe that there's really life after death. That's sad.
No.
Because if there isn't life after death, you know what that means?
What does that mean?
This is all there is.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's why people don't want to die.
100 years. That's it.
That's why people don't want to die.
100 years. That's it.
I know. It doesn't seem like very much.
That's it.
Yeah. I get you. I would love to have to live forever, but
you will.
You
will live.
You
forever.
did make my point
No.
about. You did make my point by why people don't want to. Why people fear death.
No, and you made my point of the Bible is true in what it says.
I don't know if it's been proven true.
You just said the reason people want to get the vaccine and the reason people don't want to get COVID is because of fear of death.
You said that.
No, you said that.
Dude,
I said it and you said yes, because of death. People
Yeah,
don't
I
want to die.
agree with you,
Yeah,
but you
people don't
said
wanna
it and I
die.
agreed with you.
Yeah, and you're saying people don't want to die.
People don't want to die. Why don't they? And I asked you, why don't they want to die? And you said, because this is it. They believe that this is
For
it.
them, yes.
That's what I'm saying. So
That's sad.
How is it sad?
Do you think this is all there is, bro? Really?
There's a lot here. There's a lot here, dude. Like all the science we've ever learned in all the hundreds of years, thousands of years.
You think there's a lot here?
Dude, there's a lot I haven't even seen. There's a lot you haven't even seen.
You know how long it would take for you to see everything there is? Probably a few years on Earth.
Well, I don't know about that.
Yeah, probably, dude.
I don't know about that.
If I were to give you $10 million,
like, could you watch children grow in 3 years?
Yeah.
No, you can't. You fucking dummy. You can't just go. Yeah, I can watch that 5-year-old grow into a fucking adult in 3 years.
No, you
can't do that.
You didn't say into an adult.
Yeah, you want. That's what
you didn't say into adult. You said, "Can I watch children grow?"
Did I not mention watching children grow into adults?
No, you said, "Can you watch children grow?" That's all you said. You didn't
grow
say
into what?
adult.
Like just like an inch?
No,
like that's what I was waiting for.
In
I got an inch. I'm out of here now.
No, in 3 years,
come
a
on,
baby
dude.
goes into a toddler. You could watch a baby learn in 3 years and become. And
I also mentioned legacy. that should also trigger something about children growing up and bringing forth more children with your name.
But weren't you just talking about selfishness?
There's nothing selfish about doing that.
Yeah, there is. You want to
You
carry on your
literally
name.
join with somebody else. That's
No,
the
but
least
you want to carry
selfish
on
thing.
your name.
It's not just my name. It's a heritage of name of all the people behind me as well. And I'm not just doing that because of that.
and that's
what
selfish.
we're
There's only-
supposed to do.
Again.
It's the reason why I've got a penis and they have a vagina, because I'm supposed to make one of these. Okay?
But how do you know that?
Because I have a dick and they have a vagina, and it seems to go right perfectly in there. And the juice that comes out of it goes into that one and makes a baby. Oh, but if I read a Bible, I guess that means God made that. Like, I don't have to believe in God to believe that that's what happens, that it's supposed to go together.
You don't have to believe in God to know that that's how it happens. Or science.
So I get why people don't like talking to you about like Christianity. Like, I get it because you're very cocky about it.
No,
You're
I'm
very
not.
cocky and unapologetic.
Well,
Instead of like
no.
me, where I'm like, hey, I don't care if you get it, but I wish you got it.
That's
you're
different.
like, no, you're like, I don't care if you believe in it or not, but like, then you're like, well, you're probably just gonna go to hell or something.
Well, no, I'm different with you than I am with other people because you're arrogant when it comes to the way you're thinking. Right?
I'm arrogant?
Yeah, because you think to yourself, oh, of course, Jesus didn't exist because he was a magician.
Hold up a second. I'm agnostic. Whether he existed or not, I don't know.
No, but you parade as if you do.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
But I'm not cocky about it because
No,
I don't believe.
Yes, you are. And that's what I'm
Come
trying to
on.
say. I meet your arrogance with mine and say,
No,
okay, if you want to
that's not true at all. You're always trying to one up my arguments, and I'm just like, hey, dude, Jesus. If Jesus told you came down and said something, you're like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, because I wouldn't. That to me, that's blasphemy. I wouldn't go there with him.
And that's not. How is that me being cocky at all when I say things like that?
And I'm not saying that's you being cocky.
How is me being cocky when I say that I don't know about Jesus or anything? I'm just not. You don't know either. You have a book that's been reproduced by several people. It may, and there's lots of reasonable doubt behind it.
Not good ones.
Well, see, that's the difference between you and me. Reasonable doubt is
hold on.
it can be. It's not subjective.
See, well, you say that's the reason between you and me, but how much research have you done between the inerrancy of Scripture, is Scripture real, and all these atheist arguments on disproving the inerrancy of Scripture?
Well, the thing is that when it comes to people in science, scientists and they've had thousands of years to prove these things from God. Now, whether or not it's happened, I don't believe that there's any scientist that's ever had definitive proof of any sort of creationism.
I can send you a shitload of links, bro.
Yeah, but just like you say,
No.
I don't believe those. Like, people can do the same thing too.
And these are from actual scientists who have actual scientist degrees. And majority of these have been kicked out of universities because they believe in creationism. So again, the other reason why this isn't perpetuated is because the educational system kicks those people out.
Yeah, but
and don't
you
allow
guys
them to teach
discount
it.
things like carbon dating as proof.
Yeah, because you can't be 100% accurate with carbon dating. Even now, a lot of things that are being carbon
Well,
dated.
okay, fine.
No,
100, you don't have to be 100% accurate,
Well, no.
but how accurate is it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's so many things that we've even seen in carbon dating now that has been proven wrong, like the pyramids.
Okay.
And like so many other things, they're saying, oh,
What do you mean? Like, what do you mean proven wrong? Like it was off by a couple days, or like
not a couple of days, bro. Like science, especially when it comes to the universe, people are questioning so many things because science is always evolving.
Sure, absolutely, yeah, it's always evolving and changing. Carbon dating is unreliable for objects older than about 300,000 years. 300,000 years, but you don't even believe the Earth is more than 8,000 years.
Just about, yeah.
Okay, so carbon dating is unreliable for objects that live that have been around for way longer than that.
Again, that's a worldview. That's an ideology. What scientists do, they read it into a worldview. What they're saying is this is Darwinistic evolutionary science.
Wait, do Christian scientists not going with a particular worldview?
Yeah, they do.
Okay, so they have a bias, and so their conclusions meet their bias.
Yes.
So nobody's fucking
hold on,
right then.
No. Not just their.
Then nobody's right
hold on.
by that argument.
Not their conclusions meet their bias. Right, there's many Christians, right? I've been watching a lot of this thing is Genesis history kind of thing, where they go up against, okay, well, this is what science is, and let's go and see how it goes, right? Let's pin it up against Scripture and see what it says and how it tests. What I'm saying is, when it comes to like carbon dating, evolutionary science, especially Darwinistic evolution, is they are manipulating things in order to fit their narrative, right? They could throw the words out like billions and millions of years and just say, well, carbon dating, right? And they're throwing numbers in there, right? I used to be friends with somebody who was a geologist, and it was like, sometimes we really don't know where we get the numbers from. We just kind of like summarize. It seems about this age, seems about that age. Let's just throw something in there.
Because we can't be sure.
Right? And all I'm saying is, look, when you read the scriptures are very, very clear on a lot of things. They mention dates, they mention times, they mention kings, they mention princes, they mention all these things where then we can go back to Egyptian history, Greco history, Roman history, and
it coincides.
Piece all these things together. So what I'm saying is the Bible has proven itself not just with scientific history, right? Because before people were saying, oh no, the earth revolves around this and this. The Bible's
so the walls of Jericho story is true.
Yes.
So a group of people marched around and blew their trumpets every day until it fucking happened.
Yes.
And then it crumbled down on the day that it was supposed to happen.
Yeah. Moses parted the Red Sea.
And Moses used his magic to part the Red Sea.
There is a talking donkey.
And a burning bush.
And
the COVID vaccine's fake.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying it's fake, right? Like I'm with you. I'm saying, could COVID be something that they knew was going to happen and they're launching this vaccine? I'm not, right, because then people put me in that boat. Yeah. You think COVID is... I'm not saying that. No. What I'm saying is COVID real? Yes. Does coronavirus exist? Yes, it does. Does
it kill people?
If you have all these pre-existing conditions, if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're obese, if you have cancer, there's a lot.
Has it killed anybody that didn't have any precondition?
Not that I've heard of.
Okay.
Not that I've heard of personally.
But if it did, would that worry you?
Yeah, but there is just a father at the Capitol giving a testimony of his healthy 14 or 16-year-old son took the vaccine and died. He had no pre-existing conditions. He was a healthy kid, takes the vaccine, and then dies.
Anecdotal.
Why is it anecdotal?
Because it happened to one person and there's
many people. There's I send you guys these videos all the time. People talking about this shit.
Your videos are boring.
I'm not videos of me. TikTok videos.
I think your videos are good, but I'm talking about the videos you send us are just full of crappy information.
But you can go on Alex Jones and he interviews people who are talking about this stuff. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe it's me. I just don't respond well to conspiracy like things. Okay,
why?
Because they seem too far fetched. And what you guys do is you make these giant leaps very quickly. And for me, all I want is little proofs until we get to the conclusion.
What do you mean by giant leaps?
Well, you do these giant leaps. Like, for instance, what's the reason behind the COVID vaccine? Your giant leap is population control. That's a giant fucking leap. There's a lot of things that go into trying to set that kind of thing up. It takes one person to try to expose it. Why isn't there anybody coming through? Like, why aren't you believing in flat earth? Like, there's this whole thing with flat earth where they make this giant leap that it's the government that's trying to fucking keep us down for some reason, you know? Like, what are the... there's that giant leap I'm talking about.
What I'm saying is that's only a giant leap if you don't know what we're talking about. If you have not read the white papers that they've written about population control, if you don't take Bill Gates serious when he's talking about population control, there's a lot of things that I think the reason that people in the conspiracy theory world make that leap is because they already know what has been said about this, right? Bill Gates has talked about population control very openly.
Why does he talk about that?
Because he believes that the world is going to run out of resources.
You don't think it's ever going to run out of resources?
No.
You don't ever think that?
At all.
Why do you think that?
What? Because of the Bible. The Bible says...
What does the Bible say about
that? The Bible says as long as the sun rises and the sun sets, that the Lord is going to keep his covenant with his people, that the world will never end. So as long as the sun is rising and it's setting, I have nothing to worry about.
Okay. Well, see, we live in two different worldviews where you believe something that's in a book.
So do you. So do you.
I don't. I listen to people like scientists. The reason why I believe science over your Christian God is because they can explain to me how the world works a lot better than what yours can.
You believe in people in a book who have died.
People in a book
who have died.
No.
No?
I believe in people, you and me right now. Anyone who can show me actual proof of things,
But
they can show me how things work.
What are they basing their studies off of?
Dude, I just don't understand. You keep trying to one-up me instead of just like listening to what I'm fucking saying.
No.
You're like, what book are they coming from? Do you think that somebody wrote a book that I go off of?
Yeah.
Or do you think I read several different books that I go off of?
Both.
You go off of one single one that is, whatever you want to believe about that book, I don't give a fuck. But at least these books I don't even read, but at least the things that scientists have shown can prove to us how the world works and can prove things to us so
And
that
the Bible
we can
has proven
understand.
that too.
Whether you say that or not,
No,
like you
the
can't,
Bible has proven that. The Bible has proven science right before science has even come to the point of conclusion with it.
Science is not a thing; it's a process. So
That's
what did it prove about science?
So when it comes to the Earth and the rotations of the Earth and the sun being the center of the universe, that's in the Bible before it was ever in any scientific studies.
that was written by people before the Bible that said that it was a flat Earth. Doesn't it say it's a flat Earth in the Bible?
The sun being the center of the solar system.
They say that that's the center, or is that something that a scientist later said?
That was something that's in the Bible in the book. I think it's Daniel or Joseph talks about him being the sun and all the other things revolving around him, saying as the sun, it's an analogy, but then he's also speaking scientific truth.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what I'm saying is when you look at the Bible, whether it is the Noahic flood, which when you look at the Grand Canyon, and you look at mountains, and you look at so many other things, and you break it down scientifically.
You think that the Grand Canyon was made quickly? I think there's like this argument with Christians. About
I think from a lot of the studies I've done behind not just the Grand Canyon, but a lot of other things, when you look at the way that the rock is being shaped and molded, it looks like it happened all at once, not throughout a period of time. Because of the same pattern that it has. It's not a pattern that is showing millions of years of age, because if so, then the pattern from the top would be different from the pattern on the bottom because it's going through different layers and different years and different decades.
But what about the actual rocks themselves? They have sediment layers, and they create different layers to create the different rocks, which was built over millions of years.
Which is shown through the flood. Like it's
what
like
do you mean it's shown through the flood? That it was built during the flood?
No, when you look
assuming the mountains were there or the land was there already.
Yeah, of course it was there.
Okay, so then all that stuff was built up over millions of years. Then a flood came by and created this in no time.
No,
I don't understand. What
so
you're
you
saying.
think it was there millions of years? I think it was there a few years, hundreds of years.
And it just popped out of nowhere? Like
what do you mean?
I don't know. Like
what popped out of nowhere?
The Earth? I don't know. What did they believe? What do you believe?
God spoke it into existence
and just said, and it's good. It's there.
He said, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." And it says everything was without void. And then God speaks in, "Let there be light," and there is light. Then he speaks in the earth, and he speaks in the water, and the birds, and
like,
the
to
animals.
me, like,
and this
see,
and
I know
that.
that's what you believe, and you really do. And I'm not going to try to discount that, but like to me, that sounds like it was a fairy tale told to children.
So then,
or something.
what do you
Hold
believe?
up a second. I don't know what to believe. All I know is that we've been here a very long time, and it's unconceivable how old the Earth is. We will never ever know because we can't know. It's been here for so long. Or you don't believe in evolution, so it's hard to talk to you about these kind of things because
I know
don't believe it.
evolution. I used to believe in bro. I used to be an atheist.
Yeah.
Right. I was in that camp.
Right.
I know all the lies. So it's not that I don't know them. It's that I've seen the spell has been broken.
Yeah.
I already see the bullshit
I get
behind
it.
all that.
This is what happens with the opposite happens when people are like they feel like they've been indoctrinated in this thing like Christianity. Like think about our old co-host. The guy grew up in that stuff and realized he was lied to his whole life, and now he fights his whole life to fight against it. You're sort of the opposite of that.
Well,
you come from a place where you didn't believe in that stuff, and all of a sudden now you do believe it because things happened to you, right? Events happened that led you to doing this and being there, and now you fight all your might to prove that it is there, whether you believe it or not. It doesn't matter to me. But like that's the same thing with everybody else that gets indoctrinated into something. They go completely opposite and they fight for that side very heavily.
But the difference is who's right and who's wrong, right?
It's irrelevant.
Well,
it's
isn't.
absolutely irrelevant
It
because
isn't.
they think they're right.
It isn't.
See, just like you think you're right, they think they're right just as much as you do.
I
And
don't
whether or not you think that, whether or not you know because of the Bible has no irrelevability.
No, that and
whatever word that I just said there,
and
irrelevability.
that's the thing. People hold themselves to a standard in which the world has made. The standard that I'm strive to live after every day, yeah, it comes from the Bible, but even that isn't a man-made thing. When you look at the 10 Commandments, right? So many people make fun of the 10 Commandments. It's like, oh,
shall not.
You shouldn't tell people to nobody needs to be told not to murder. Well, when you actually read the history of everything that was going on before the 10 Commandments were given, yeah, people were murdering each other. They were eating each other's kids. All this crazy shit was going on. So somebody needed to be told, hey, don't murder. Don't covet your neighbor's goods, because people were robbing like crazy. So we make it seem as, and this is what science argues that, because what does science
I do all the killing that I want.
No.
You know how much that is? It's zero.
You do it in your heart.
No,
you do. You hate people, I'm sure.
Of course I hate
Exactly.
people. They're fucking idiots
and the
out
Bible
there.
says
that
that's-
last caller we had.
And the
piece of
Bible
shit.
says that's murder. So you've already murdered people in your heart, right? Because that's the intention.
That's so ridiculous.
But what I'm saying is,
I've murdered people in my heart.
Science is arguing you're just an animal.
Yeah.
Right?
Essentially, we are.
Essentially.
Yeah.
What do animals do? They don't have any morals. They don't have any ethics. Do they?
What about monkeys?
Monkeys throw shit at people.
Yeah.
They beat each other's head with rocks.
Yeah, but they show complex emotions that very much similar to what we do. You know, there's this video, and I'm not going to pull it up, but there's this thing. They had this robotic monkey.
They show complex emotion. Do you hear that, Brandon?
You think he's going to be like, oh, yeah, he fucking Los is an idiot. He's probably more on my side than you are,
I wouldn't doubt it, but I'm just saying, you know what else shows complex emotion? Snails.
No, not like like monkeys. So you're telling me if we take a snail and these monkeys that I'm going to talk about, you're going to say, look at the complex emotions. Like these primates literally have eyebrows, teeth. You can tell what they're thinking by their facial expressions. You can do that with a snail?
I'm pretty sure you
can do that with a snail.
I'm pretty sure you tapped into its brain waves. Yes. A snail, you probably can't see it.
Using the science that Jesus gave us.
No, what I'm saying is what scientists have said is we're just animals and that's that. So then if I kill somebody...
Wait a minute. There's more to it than just we're animals. We're different type of animals. Yes, we are.
Keep going.
So... You know, the stuff that's written in the Bible, has it ever been updated at all to reflect modern day people?
Nope.
Why not?
Why would it?
Because we've been around longer than that fucking thing has been around, that was written.
Shows that it hasn't been wrong.
What are you talking about? It's been wrong. A lot of that stuff still hasn't even been like the walls of Jericho. Has that ever been proven?
Yeah. You can go to Jericho and see the rubble.
The rubble, 2,000 years later, it's still there.
You can go to the Temple Mount. You can go in Jerusalem. The walls are like, you can go anywhere and look at all these. Look at the Dead Sea Scrolls. Look at all the things that they found that are proving all. There's so many things that prove the Bible right. So many things that prove it right, bro.
There's a lot of things that prove the Scientology fucking doctrine is right,
like
too.
What?
I don't know. But I'm sure people believe it.
No,
just like you believe it,
but
right?
But what proves it?
I don't, dude. All I'm saying
So
make
you,
an example.
you just said that. You just said that as an argument.
Yes, I'm saying as an argument because there's people that believe in other things, just like you believe in that, and they believe just as much as you do. You think you're right. They think they're right. Who's right?
I don't think I'm right.
You do think you're right because you act very cocky and you're like,
No.
I'm right because I fucking read the Bible.
I do not think I am right.
Okay.
I think the Bible is right. Because the Bible has proven itself correct over and over and over again.
Okay,
it's
what
like
has
Michael
the Bible
Jordan,
gotten wrong?
It's like Michael Jordan knocking down 6 rings or 6 championships over and over again. And me saying, well, no, he's not the best basketball player ever. It's like,
Wait,
no,
who's
he's
that
proven
guy?
itself.
Who's
He's
that
proven
guy?
itself.
Wait, who?
That he is the best NBA player ever.
What has the Bible ever gotten wrong?
Nothing.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
You tell me, bro. You're telling me.
The Bible's never gotten anything wrong.
You tell me what it has.
I'm just gonna Google it, see if something pops up here. What has the Bible said that it got wrong? I don't know if that's the right way of saying it, but I'm sure something will pop up here. 100 Bible verses about right and wrong. That's not what I'm talking about. What does the Bible saying about making mistakes? What are the mistakes in the Bible here? Here are some of the more memorable. The Society of Bible Collectors furnished several of these examples. Sin on more. Let the children first be killed. If the latter husband ate her, to remain. Owl husband, Holy Ghost, peace on earth and goodwill towards men. Does it say?
What in the world is any of that?
I don't know what this is. This is the worst typos in the Bible.
So people who
who
Bible.
misprinted it.
Oh, that would suck, bro. Could you imagine getting one of those Bibles? You're just like,
Sin on more. I'm
sin
not
on-
gonna do.
Sin on more. Well, I guess my word is extra inspired here.
The Bible cannot err since it's God's word, and God cannot err. Does this mean that there are no difficulties in the Bible? But the difficulties are not due to God's perfect revelation, but due to our imperfect understanding of it. The history of the Bible criticism reveals that Bible has no errors, but the critics do. Most of the problems fall into one of the following categories. Bible criticism reveals that Bible has no errors, but critics do. Like, when people talk about our show, the people of their criticism, like, they reveal that we have errors.
Bro, and so let me tell you this, right?
I will tell you that our show has no errors, but the critics do.
And I would say, if you rightly do your research, and I would say one person, Lee Strobel.
That book I gave you is full of those things. I haven't read it, but have you even cracked it open to read the historicity of Jesus?
Because at the end of the day, I've already had those debates. When it comes to the history,
give me back my goddamn book. Look, then, because you told me you'd read that because you like that kind of thing.
I do, but I just don't have time to read it. But what I'm saying is this: if somebody is trying to argue the historicity of Jesus, you're already wrong, and I don't even want to listen to you, because not even atheists will debate the historicity of Jesus. Everybody believes that Jesus existed. The only argument is, was he really the Messiah? Was he just a prophet? Was he just a teacher? Was he a crazy person or whatever,
Or a magician, like I said.
But the thing when it comes to the scriptures and even to the inerrancy and all that kind of stuff is when you read the Bible, right? There is so many things in there, right? There's prophetic literature, there's poetry, there's this or that. And he's right? We as people at times wrongly interpret it. I will give you that, right? You've seen that through you've seen that through slavery. You saw that through what's called genders, right? Husband thing. Oh, well, the Bible says I'm the leader of the home.
Above, yeah.
I'm above, right? There's many ways you can misinterpret the Bible. I will give you that. But when you look at it and you study it, and what I was going to say is there's this guy, Lee Strobel, who used to be a lawyer, and there's so many testimonies this way of atheists, and I'm one of them, people who went into the Bible to disprove it.
And only found proof for it.
And walked out saying...
That's my story with the moon landing. I used to think it was a hoax, and then as I did research for it, I'm like, this looks like we very much went there.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying with the scriptures. Like, time and time again, whether it's scientists, mathematicians, astronauts, artists, anybody, so many people who have said, I'm going to disprove this in my study, and then they end up saying...
But my problem with all this is that you say, like, we can go back and you can still see the rubble. Like, my whole idea is that these things were probably, and don't get me wrong, and I'm not trying to discount what your belief. It's like, my belief is that it seems like these things were stories told over many generations, and over generations eventually made it into a Bible because of its morals. Like fairy godmother stories all had a moral behind them. Whether or not the story was real, the moral is very much real.
So,
and maybe that's a way that they were storytelling back then.
Did the Alamo really happen? Or is it just a story about standing up and fighting for what you
there's
believe
people that are living today that can prove that they were there, right?
And the Bible says the same thing. The Bible, you read the Bible and it says so-and-so and so-and-so. You can go and so the Bible is written to people at that time.
Yeah. And
saying you can check with so-and-so and this person was there and that person was there. So if somebody reads about the Alamo 10,000 years from now,
will they believe it was there or not?
Oh,
well, 2,000 years.
It's just a fairy tale about people who stood up for what they believe in. Texas never existed.
Yeah, but the rubble is a different story than a building that's up. It has pictures of it from its very beginning. And we don't have any of the pictures of it being that rubble of what it was beforehand.
But how long ago was the Alamo? And how long ago was the destruction of the temple?
Less than 200 years.
The temple was in 30 AD.
Okay. Long time ago.
Long time ago. So the fact that we even have anything now is still impressive. But the fact that we have the scriptures, bro, the scriptures from the carbon dating are from a few years after Jesus' resurrection. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick.
All right, anyways, we have Ian chiming in. He says maybe God decided Earth needed a butt crack. He also says most animals have emotions. When we were talking about that, he also says look up 144 self-contradictions in the Bible. And here's the thing. I can pull up all 144 of them. He's going to defend every last one of them. You're not going to get someone off of something when they highly believe it. Like, consider when you try to tell somebody about any of the stats from COVID today, and they're very much the people that are afraid of COVID. You know, it's like it's called the backfire effect or something. When you give them proof of something, they buckle down harder on what they believe in more. It's just what's going to happen. It's like I can't. He's much more read on the Bible than I am, so I don't know anything about the Bible. It's just I just want to know what's tangible and true, and scientists over the years have made it easy for us to do that by showing us how the world works, why it works, and giving us the formulas how it works. Instead of like allegories turn into stories of fig trees getting smited or Red Seas being parted, because this is magic happening. And in the next 2,000 years, where has the magic happened after that? So we got the self-contradictions of the Bible, 144 propositions, theological, moral, historical, and speculative, each provided affirmatively and negatively by quotations from Scripture without comment. Oh boy, what is this here? Is this a video? I don't want to watch this shit. No, it's not. Oh, it's an actual book that came out here in 1890 here. So somebody that didn't have the internet was able to do this. Like, the last thing I want to do is read all these and you defending all that. Like, that's a boring ass thing to me. It's like, you believe what you believe. These people believe what they believe. There's a lot of, will you at least agree that there are lots of contradictions in the Bible?
No.
You won't agree to that.
I don't think there's any contradictions in the Bible.
Okay. This is a book here.
Okay.
Okay.
Son of a...
Well, like I said, I didn't want to. Like, I knew you're gonna defend every last thing on here, whether or not you believe it or not. That's the thing. This guy spent his whole life probably trying to accumulate all this stuff, doing his research, and you're just like, no, you know. And that's how I feel when I talk to you, because like I don't have all this like extra research, but at least I know what I know based on my own, you know, my own shit or whatever. And there's other ways that I can confirm things, and I just don't believe. I just don't, because I grew up different. I grew up with the magic background, you know, where everything can be explained through something, right? But the way that you explain things, there's such a giant leap to God or whatever. Like, it just, that doesn't help me at all. And I'd like you to, and you could still sway me today. I'm agnostic, right? I don't dismiss his existence. I just don't see any proof of it yet in my eyes, right? And it's not your job. It's not your job to try to like figure out a way to get to me or whatever. But that's like what we talked about last week. Why they're trying to do things, because they pretend, whether or not they pretend or they do. They say they care a lot about us, right? And they want us to live.
Well,
right?
and the thing is,
it's the same. And when I hear that, it triggers the same emotions I get from them when you do the same thing about trying to get me to like read the Bible or something. That's the same trigger.
And the thing is this: I do not force the Bible on people. What I'm saying is, there is only one way to, right? Because I believe in an afterlife. I will take a little bit more whiskey too, sir. I believe in an afterlife, right? I don't believe this world is all that there is. Therefore, if there's only these worldly pleasures, and I see people indulging in worldly pleasures, when I know there's heavenly pleasures, I would like. I want you.
What if you go up to heaven and like those heavenly pleasures are like the pleasures that these people are getting busted for, like Weinstein? Like that is the pleasure.
No.
Because have you ever heard that joke by Louis C.K. And he's like, these people that are molesting kids, like, or raping kids, like, why would they do that? It must like be like the best feeling in the world or something. Like it's so bad. Why would they do that?
One.
It must, like, why do people do it and they hide it? It must feel really good. What if? Now, it's blasphemous for me to even say it. What if that's what you're waiting for? like the best feelings in the world, and people found out what they are on Earth, and they started doing it.
I wouldn't agree with that, mainly because
Of course you wouldn't,
well, mainly because again, what the Bible talks about is kids. You know, Jesus even says, you know, anybody who harms one of these little ones, one of these kids,
Like midgets?
no, children, kids.
So I can hurt midgets all I want.
I'm pretty sure you can.
Okay, good.
Shit, they could probably fight back.
Midget kids?
No, I don't know about midget. I mean, that's a gray area.
No, that's fucked up.
That's a gray area.
That's fucked up.
But Jesus says it's you should have a stone wrapped around your neck and throw it to the bottom of the ocean.
Ian, what's a tough argument? Yeah, that's a tough argument. What are you referring to, bud?
Damn, I need to be out of here by 11:30, and y'all motherfuckers kept me later.
Yeah, that was my plan the whole time. I go, okay, at 11:30, you just start talking about God. He'll fucking stick
He'll
around.
stick the fuck around.
Let's see. Exodus 21:37. What is it? Do you know what that is right off the top of your head?
Exodus, they're leaving Egypt.
Exodus is them leaving Egypt. That's why Exodus,
Yeah,
right?
probably wandering.
When
in the
someone
wilderness.
steals an ox or a sheep and slaughters or sells it, he shall restore 5 oxen for the 1 ox and 4 sheep for the 1 sheep. When someone steals an ox, he shall restore 5 oxen. So he needs to get 5 more oxen for that one he sold.
Mm-hmm.
And then 4 more sheep if he sells 1 sheep.
Mm-hmm.
What does that fucking mean?
Cultural stuff, I'm assuming.
Oh, okay.
It's like, oh, you stole my sheep. Like you're repaying what people have given you now. So it's almost like an eye for an eye kind of thing.
Oh, when a man steals. So if someone steals it, his punishment is 5 oxen for the 1. So he pays 5 to 1 for his crime.
Yeah.
I don't see how that's a contradiction. What is that? How is that a contradiction for anything? Oh shit! YouTube censored my joke. The whole God is real argument.
That's
it's a tough argument.
It is if you don't believe in spiritual things, right? Like it's easy when, and we've talked about this before. It's like, you know, how do you know that your significant other loves you? Well, you could either believe in love. You can't weigh love, right? You can't put a number or price or anything on. You have faith that the other person loves you. Love is something that cannot be defined by science. You know what I mean? And so there's all these spiritual realities like grace, peace, mercy, justice. Like there's so many things out there that we think they're physical qualities, but they're not. We can't put anything to them.
I was thinking like, is Christianity the oldest religion? It doesn't, and I had to put that in the Bible, and it says actually Hinduism is the oldest. So
I would say Judaism is probably the oldest.
Well, this goes back 4,000 years, not 2,000.
Well, Judaism goes back about 6,000, I think.
Oh, right, because of Moses, right?
Yeah.
Well, how long did he live? Well, how long was it between Moses and Jesus?
Man, a few years because. But that's what I'm saying. It's because
is Moses like he was a prophet, right? Like he spoke to God.
Yes.
What do they call that when you speak to God?
A prophet.
Prophet.
But Enoch was the 7th from Adam.
We call him Nucky.
Nucky.
Yeah.
My nig Nucky.
That's my Nucky right there.
But Enoch was the 7th from Adam, and he fathered Methuselah, and I think after Methuselah was Lamech, and then Noah.
Okay, so hold up a second. So all the humans we have on Earth have spawned from 2 people?
Yes.
Just the 2 people?
Yes.
So, I mean, doesn't that contradict a lot of things there right off the bat? Like, because there are like several different types of people, races. I'm sure that can evolve over years. Let's say that.
Yeah.
But what about like when you have families like incest and shit? Like, don't you get retarded children?
Well,
and why aren't we all retarded at this point?
Well, and this is where again the understanding of sin comes into play, right? When you take humanity day one, even after the fall, there wouldn't be so much sin that would be that would be harming the DNA, right? As much. So in a way to kind of give you an earthly understanding is when you buy a pair of pants, week 1 they look the same as they were new. month 1 still kind of look the same.
How many times have you washed it in a month?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Right. It
Probably like
2 or 3.
at
If
be-
anything.
at most.
At
yeah.
most, that's what I'm saying. But like so when you have your pair of pants, week 1, month 1, year 1, don't look that. But 5 years, 10 years, after a while, you kind of I gotta get new pants. When you look at the human race after the fall, things probably look normal.
Wait, what's the fall?
When we sin, when we took of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil and said, I'm gonna eat of this, and they brought sin
Oh,
into
right,
the
right.
world,
The famous
famous
apple
Adam and
thing.
Eve
Okay,
apple thing, right?
Uh-huh.
Even though it wasn't an apple, but so after
It was
that,
a vagina. They fucked. That's what it was, right?
I don't know. It could have been a lot of things, bro.
We
I don't
talked
know.
about that briefly on the
Could
show,
be a
right?
peach,
Like,
could be
like Adam and Eve fucked. They weren't supposed to.
no, not that.
Like the apple is sex.
No.
No.
So it was from a tree. The Bible says it was from a tree.
Yeah, like a bushy tree,
no,
right?
no.
I assume these two didn't
no.
shave whatsoever.
It uses the I mean, at least the Greek Septuagint uses the word for tree, the Greek word. So when you think about it, using the pants analogy, well, after we ate from the tree, I'm sure things looked normal for a while, but then after what happens after what is it? Genesis.
What happens
14 or
after
something?
homegirl eats the apple? Like, does something
Well,
happen right
yeah,
away?
well,
Like,
that's what I'm
does the
saying.
sky change color or something? Like, what happened?
Well, then they end up realizing they're naked, and they cover themselves.
So they're just walking around all willy nilly, not realizing
They're-
they got a dick and titties hanging out.
Because nudity and being sexually conscious or whatever the fuck it was, like it wasn't a thing then. There, right? Nudity, especially when you're married and when you're in a relationship, nudity represents openness, right? Like, hey, I'm willing to show you all of me. Like, there's this vulnerability, there's love, right? So when they ate of the apple, they clothed themselves and they put, they covered themselves with leaves and stuff like that. And God is like, hey, why did you cover yourselves? And they're like, oh, well, we're naked. And God's like, who told you were naked? Like, there's already this, you didn't get that from me.
So they got shame from eating the apple.
They got out of Eden. And so what I'm saying is, after that, you see, man.
Wait. So okay, hold up, slow down. They ate the apple, and they got shame from that.
They get kicked out of Eden.
And then they got who kicked them out?
God.
God told them, hey, you need to fuck off and get the hell out of here.
Yeah, because you cannot pollute Eden with sin.
Why didn't he just like make 2 new people and tell them not to do that?
Bro, so Genesis 3, God promises a seed that will come from the woman that will crush the head of the serpent. Jesus.
Who's the serpent?
Satan.
Oh, okay.
So in Genesis 3,
Okay.
the very beginning of humanity after the sin, God is saying, I will send a seed from the woman that will crush the head of the serpent. Almost 4,000 years later, Jesus comes and does that very thing. That's what I'm saying. Like,
wait, how long?
About 4,000 years.
So they're told that they're going to make a baby in 4,000 years?
They're not told that. They're saying God is telling them, I will bring a seed from the woman, from Eve.
Oh, but it's not directly from her. It's like an ascendant of her.
Yeah, a descendant, yes.
Right.
So there will come a seed from the woman that will crush the head of the serpent, which is exactly what Jesus does on the cross. He atones for the sin of humanity, and that in the fear of death, right? We're all afraid to die. Jesus removes that.
4,000 years is a very long fucking time.
I mean, it really isn't when you think about eternity.
Well, yeah, I don't think about eternity.
That's what I'm saying. When you put eternity in perspective, it's like 4,000 years ain't that long.
Well, how long did Adam and Eve live? Like regular humans?
I think they lived about 700-800 years.
What?
Yeah, people in the Old Testament lived, I think the oldest person was like 980 years. People started dying.
Who first wrote about these people in the Garden of Eden?
I think Enoch, the Enochic tradition and the Job tradition is very oral. So a lot of it was oral tradition. No, I mean, with the mouth.
Oh, they're not sucking dick. I'm sorry.
Because there was no writing utensils, right? So everything was shared orally.
Which is like my interpretation of a lot of these things is that it was oratory, these words, these allegories that became.
Well, so you're saying allegory. These are history. to them, it's not this is history that happened. They're saying, hey, you came from Adam and this, and they're telling them the Genesis story so they don't forget it.
Yeah, it's a story that was passed down generation to generation for 4,000 years.
Well,
nothing was written down. It was a story that eventually can change. Maybe little things change, like they lived 800 years, or I mean, there's without any actual like today we live in a very fortunate.
Of course.
Here's the thing with me: we live in a very like technological world, right? You know, like where I could take a picture of something with my cell phone, like right now. But like 10 years ago, well, let's say 20 years ago, we wouldn't have been able to do that. So 6,000 years. I would believe, it seems reasonable to me enough that like people believe these things because they were told stories over the generations and years. Whether or not it's real or not is irrelevant to me, but I can see how these stories made it to these books because they were stories that were told. Like we know Hercules because of things like that. You know.
Well, then I was gonna say this isn't only in the Jewish and Christian belief. This is in the Sumerian belief.
Right. They were able to corroborate each other's story in some ways.
Or this is something that affected every nation, tribe, and tongue. Right? Maybe the flood, when you look at the flood and you look at everything that happened, maybe this story happened, and that was the same story everybody was telling to their kids. Because after that, after the flood, you get the Tower of Babel. And with the Tower of Babel, that's when God disperses language.
Yeah.
And so he causes a confusion. So now you have all these different people who know of the Noah story.
How are they different people, though? They're ascended from
different
the same
languages.
I mean, like different people in general. Like, because obviously there's. Like,
well, I mean,
our DNA. Like, do you believe in DNA?
Yeah, of course I do. Why wouldn't I?
So, do we all share a gene that will hark us back to Adam and Eve?
And so, even science has shown this, that every DNA has a deformity. And the deformity is what is carried along through the child. So if mine is being short,
they call that a mutation.
A mutation, exactly. Yeah. And so this mutation is what does all these different things. So maybe beards, no beards,
sure,
blonde hair, red
but
hair,
you don't.
whatever.
But you've told me you don't believe in like evolutionary.
So I don't believe in macro, right? So there's the evolution that's like you evolve in this way, and then there's the slow, gradual evolution, which I believe.
But that's all. That's what they. But in my understanding of evolution is that it happens over a long fucking period of time. It's not going to be like what you just said. Like it happens like that.
And that's what people believe.
I don't think that they believe that way. My understanding comes from that common knowledge of evolution, that it takes millions of years for these things to develop. Like the reason why we have a tailbone is from a tail that we used to have back in the day. That eventually somebody
I don't believe that.
See, like, but that's what you're talking about. That it's an evolutionary tactic where we lose things that we eventually don't need, but there's evidence of it still of it being there.
So
there was something there.
So even like when you look at you take the dog species. And people say, well, how did all those species fit in Noah's Ark? Well, they didn't.
They didn't. It was only we bred them to be that way.
Well, not just that. There could have been a style of dog that's DNA was able to carry all these different types of mutations, and those mutations occurred after a litter of dogs and other little dogs, and they all started mingling and doing this and that and mixing and all. So through mutation, we get all these different species.
Right.
That's what I believe, and that's what the Bible preaches.
They call that artificial. What do they call that? Artificial selection. Artificial selection.
Natural selection.
No, the way that we did with dogs is artificial selection.
Like us choosing.
Yeah, we chose we chose the features we wanted and we let them reproduce.
Kind of what we're gonna do with kids with CRISPR and all that kind of shit.
CRISPR?
Yeah, where you can choose the DNA of your child and do they want blue eyes or all this kind of different shit.
So that's ridiculous shit. Yeah, like a lot of people when they did this heartbeat bill, they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna have a lot of Down syndrome kids." I'm like, "What? People screen for Down syndrome and then they decide, oh, we don't want a retarded kid, so we want to abort that kid." Like, I get the decision why you do that, but you know, it's called eugenics. What you just did right there.
Yeah,
you decided, okay, my kid's gonna be a retarded. I don't want to fucking deal with that. There's nothing more
eugenics.
selfish than that, dude.
That's Margaret Sanger, right?
Yeah.
But even so,
except she said the N-word a lot more.
She said it a lot, and she went to KKK rallies.
Well, I think one, famously,
and did a
one
speech.
Yes,
But-
we
but-
need to get rid of these damn N-words.
But you know, to go back is just like, and that's why for me, so much of the Bible, and it isn't just that it's a Christian thing. It's also the Jews believe this partially, and so they believe in a Messiah coming. They believe in anointed one. They believe the Red Sea parted. They believe all the Old Testament. So this is something that has been proven time and time again. And the more that scientists and historians and archaeologists have tried to disprove in the Bible, the more they're like, "Fuck, it's there."
But why? See, I have all these questions, and I'm glad you're answering them for me. But like, why is it that a man like Moses can like do the magic to part the sea, but we haven't heard any of these type of stories, even like recently? Like, do we have these like miracle stories
Yes.
besides statues of Virgin Mary's bleeding or something? Like,
Yeah,
are there things beyond that are miracles?
But this has always been my argument, especially when you look at the scriptures.
I've seen Chris Angel fucking walk on water, dude.
Yeah, but that's illusion.
Are you sure?
Yes, but
Well, I don't know
because
he's got long hair.
Because he's talked about how he's done it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is you use this and that." But when it comes to Moses and these kind of things, like I've said before, like I believe that they were actual magicians, but
like sorcerers, like they actually knew magic,
yeah,
like real magic, not magic
Yeah.
like sleight of hand.
yeah, they
but
knew real magic. How do you manipulate and use earth in certain ways? When you look,
How did they learn that? How do
So-
you learn that? Why aren't more people learning it?
we do that with science.
Science is magic. I
Yes,
believe that.
Yes,
Yeah, science is absolutely magic.
and that's what I'm saying. It's
Like
science,
vaccines, man. Like they're super
Yeah.
magic and they save lives and
I
shit.
am
and
with
I think
you.
everyone should get them.
and I am with you.
Okay.
Right? I'm not arguing that vaccines are bad. I'm saying I believe a lot of this is magic. Even when you look at witch doctors and you look at witches back in the day and you look at everything they did, potions. What is this called? A spirit. This is a potion.
That's a spirit. That's
this
right.
is a potion right here, right? Like, so, but Moses, and I think especially like when you get into places that believe in spiritual realities, more spiritual things tend to happen. In the West, we don't believe in that. In the West, Western culture, we don't believe in, and when miracles do happen, what do we say?
That's a coincidence
That's
or
a
something.
coincidence. Something happened or whatever, right? Even when you look at medical miracles, and doctors are left like dumbfounded. And again, I hear hundreds of stories of people. I had cancer. We prayed and it went away. We had this and that or this accident.
You know, that reminds me of a video I recently watched from Veritasium, where it was about cosmic rays, dude. Like, have you ever had like an electronic just like malfunction out of nowhere? And he used this example of a vote that happened. They used like voting systems through computers, and this woman got a ton of fucking votes, more votes than there would be fucking in the county, right? They're like, what the fuck? And so they had to recount. And so they recounted, and obviously it was something that happened with the computer. And what they found out is that the binary code for what she actually got, the first four letters, the last four letters were correct, but there was this one random one that was in there. And so they say that like the universe puts out these rays that will cause these different they would cause these malfunctions in electronics, simply changing a 1 to a 0 or a 0 to a 1. And it's like a random thing. And that happened, matter of fact, that happened to me today.
Really?
I was hitting this thing, and then all of a sudden it just like turned off. It just stopped working. I had to click it till it turned back on. And it made me think, because this happened maybe once or twice before. And I watched that video, and it made me think that, because they were able to actually visually show like these rays. There was like experiments, and there's papers written, and Veritasium is a very reputable science source for me. Like, he explains a lot of like science for me. But I thought that was very fascinating how that's what they contributed to why she got so many fucking votes.
Was the sun rays?
Because not sun. I don't think it was sun rays. It was like cosmic rays.
Cosmic rays.
Something from out there
Now
that are like we're being constantly hit by them right now.
Now think about this. Scientists know this.
We know this,
Right?
man.
No. Scientists know this.
We know this, man.
Right?
Yeah.
What if they put something in a vaccine that could receive those cosmic rays in order to disrupt something in you that was meant to not be disrupted.
Yeah, I mean, what if?
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like I said, for me, you know, and I believe in that shit, dude. Like, I believe that there is, and miracles happen. Again, dude, there's, especially when I used to do a lot of missionary work, it was just nonstop, man. You would just hear miracles and fucking crazy shit happening, and you're just like, me being from America, I would always be like, man, I wish we had that experience in the West. But all we would say is that's fake.
What's stopping somebody from like claiming they're like supernatural? Like, especially back then when people weren't as like intelligent as we are today and have access to information at the tip of our fingers. And now I don't want to get into a crazy thing. Like, this has like always been my argument is that people were dumber than we are today. We have the benefit of standing on the shoulders of giants.
What do you mean by dumber though?
Well, I think they had the capacity of like of learning like us, but they didn't have the experience that we get, that we have the benefit, the privilege of having, being in the world that we live in today, because the world is.
So give me an example. What would be something that you think they believed in then that we no longer believe in now?
Well, I'll always go back to prestidigitation, magic, sleight of hand. Like, people believe it's one of the oldest professions in the world.
Yeah,
People, I mean, there's pictures, medieval pictures of like, you know, street scenes, right? And there's like the cups and balls, which is like one of the oldest tricks in magic, right? Like, people like believe these kind of things back in the day. They believed the magic, and there were people that didn't have conscience. Maybe they knew it, but they knew they'd benefit
they'd make
financially
money.
or whatever. But there weren't people, they were not dumber, but they weren't as intelligent as, intelligence and dumb is the same thing, but I mean, like, they weren't as informed as we are today, or they didn't have access to the technology that we can literally, we're the smartest people, like, our other ancestors, whether or not like their brain capacity is bigger and they're smarter, like, we are like technically, if we had a game show with our ancestors versus us,
we're the most informed generation.
Informed. Is it informed, or are we smarter because we know we can get the answers quicker?
Well, and that's, I think that is an error of the education system.
We gotta go, dude. It's been in fucking 3 hours.
I'm already here. That is an error of the education system, because we look at intelligence by how much information you can store. I think back then they looked at information a whole different way. When it comes to, again, I've talked about alchemy. You know, when it comes to looking at
alchemy, though?
Of course I do. How can you not?
Because no one's been able to turn lead into gold.
Yeah, nobody's gone to that extent. But I mean, look, like I said, we have beer, we have alcohol, we manipulate things all the time.
That stuff's fucking bitchin'. That's magic. Yeah. And a lot of people would believe that was like some sort of like this thing that you created, like, makes me feel so different, like that. There's like God in here.
Yes,
like,
they would say this is a love potion. Oh, look!
But you can see how like a God or something could come through this, and people would believe it based on things like this. Especially way further when they discovered that fermenting berries or something would result in them being inhibited and shit.
And that's where, for me, it is one of those things where it's, I don't believe it is God, but I do believe God can be learned better, or God could be learned in a different way through this, right? How do I know that? Well, because the scripture says that the joy of the Lord is like much wine. So when I read the Bible is saying, you want to know what it's like to feel the joy of the Lord? Drink some wine. Get drunk on wine. And that's what I'm saying.
You want to feel the love of God, get drunk.
No, the joy of the Lord.
The joy of the Lord.
You want to know what it's like.
What does that mean, the joy of the Lord?
Joy, happiness, exuberance, exaltation. Like when you're in a wedding, what do they do in weddings? Drink wine and be merry.
What does that have to do with the Lord? Like, if you just you can be happy without it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You could be happy without it, but the Bible is saying there's something about wine that is closer to what it's like for the joy of the Lord.
See, this still falls into stories that can be told over decades and generations, right? Like, you know, the drinking.
Those are proverbs.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Like someone drinking and like they discovered this and it, like, makes them feel that they're like close to something or whatever, and then that gets carried on, blah 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 blah, and until we were at now. I mean, that still can all fit into.
And I'm with you on that.
Okay.
But what I'm also saying is, this is something that, right? Because then you can ease into drunkenness, right? And you're like sloshing and being super drunk and whatever the fuck, right?
Oh my God,
Uh-oh.
Ian is just fucking going crazy over here. He's the only listener we have today. If anyone spawned from two people, we'd have all kinds of deformities.
No, we wouldn't.
Um,
Ian, I would say, first of all, with that question, no, we wouldn't, because you're looking at deformities from today's culture, which has already had many deformities in it. If you look at Adam and Eve and you look at Cain and Abel and what would have spawned from that, there would have been, almost science fucking like the Aryan race, but there would have been more purity in that than we have now. So now we have a lot of things that would cause deformities because, how you said, there's mutations. So there's way more mutations now than
how many
there was
people
back
died
then.
in the flood?
I think only Noah and 7 other people were saved.
So, okay, so essentially the whole human population was rebuilt by 7 people.
Yeah.
Who are descendants eventually of Adam and Eve.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, interesting. And
Yeah.
this is like 4,000 years past Adam and Eve.
Not
When
4,000 years.
Where does Moses
It was a
live in
few
this?
hundred. I think it was maybe 1,000 or less around there, because Enoch and some other people died. Well, Enoch didn't die, but people around there were dying like around 800, 900. So
Fucking Ian. I love you, Ian, right now. I don't know,
Uh-huh.
but he goes, 4,000 years is great foreshadowing. I think he's referring to what you said about
what?
Adam and Eve, like you're going to have your seed's going to smash the serpent.
Yeah. So
I'm sure if I said
Yeah.
something in 4,000 years, it may happen.
No. So what Ian is doing is saying, oh, well, you're taking the Genesis 3 passage and then you're looking 4,000 years. No, there is that promise, and then there is promises every other year after that. So God makes a covenant with Moses, with Noah, with Abraham, with all these other people, promising. So when the Old Testament is promises over and over and over again of the Messiah. So the Old Testament, that's what I'm saying. The Jews still look at the Old Testament saying, our Messiah is going to come someday.
Do you think
Christians
anybody
believe-
modern has like actually talked to God?
Yeah, everybody. I think I talked to God. I know I talked to
Well,
God.
okay, excuse me. Let me rephrase that. As God talks to them.
Yeah,
You think so?
through the scriptures. That's what the
Well,
scriptures are.
I mean, like before scriptures, they talked to God, like Moses talked to God, right? And Moses said shit to him and said
Yes.
like, has that ever happened in modern day time, or is there any evidence of such things like that?
Yeah, so one thing that has been happening a lot, bro. Has been, there's been people from like Afghanistan, Muslims, and all this other stuff who have visions of Jesus and end up converting to Christianity and converting people to Christianity.
But they're like already predisposed to religion.
No,
Them being
Muslims don't believe in Jesus.
Yeah, but they're predisposed to religion already because of Muhammad.
Yes, but
and like
but
what
they,
he believed
But
in.
they say Jesus came to me in a vision.
Is Muhammad in any of the Bibles
No,
stuff that we talked
not
about?
in the Bible.
Who the fuck is Muhammad?
Muhammad is in the
He's in the Quran.
The Quran. There you go. Yeah. So he's a prophet.
Of Jesus, of God.
They believe he's a prophet of God.
Okay, yeah, because he said he made.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: you don't believe that he was a prophet of God, do you?
No. Because
Why do they believe?
I don't really know why they believe.
Interesting.
The reason I don't believe is because his message is kill the infidel they don't believe.
Right.
And I see that nowhere in the Old Testament scriptures or with Jesus.
What was it that Jimmy said that about the how Jesus is going to come back? He said that all religions need to something, right? What's the maybe you'll know. What's it going to take for Jesus to come back?
Well, what I would say,
Like, what did he say that needs to happen before he can come back? Because Jimmy used to say this all the time, something about how like everyone needs to convert to Christianity before something like that. I don't know what exactly it is, but maybe you don't. Maybe you do.
So I could see where he would say that. What the Bible talks about is that all the elect must hear. So
All the elect
Yes.
must hear.
Yeah. So in a sense, those whom God has predestined to be believers, the chosen ones, once they have all believed, then he will return. Now, who are the elect?
Once they all believe, he
Yes.
will return.
Yes.
But the elect, once all the elect
Yes.
believe, he will return. Okay.
Yes. Who are the elect?
Who are the elect?
I have no idea. You could be the elect. That's what I mean. It's there was a pastor back in the day, Charles Haddon Spurgeon, who would say if God wanted us to know who the elect was, he would paint everybody's coattails.
This sounds
in
like a
white
fucking
paint.
process in American fucking politics. Unconditional election.
Oh, you're getting into Calvinism right now, bro.
Well, I don't know. All I asked Google is who are the elect in the Bible? Unconditional election, also called sovereign election or unconditional grace,
Or irresistible grace if you're going through the tulip across.
is a Calvinist doctrine relating to predestination that describes the actions and motives of God prior to his creation of the world. When he predestined some people to receive salvation, the elect and the rest to continue in their blank.
So I wouldn't.
What is Calvin? Who the fuck is Calvin
So
now?
what they're saying, it's a Calvinistic doctrine. It isn't a Calvinistic doctrine. It's a Pauline doctrine, which is the Jesus.
John Calvin.
John Calvin was a reformer back in the 1500s who was a spawn off of Luther. John Calvin is. I've read all of his writings. I've read all of his commentaries.
Is
Calvin,
he any good?
Calvin is one of the greatest.
Really? Okay.
Calvin is a theologian of theologians.
But he's the one who's looked into this, the elect,
yes.
right?
Well, man, that's the thing. People think Calvin, they correlate Calvin with predestination. He wasn't somebody who said, "Oh, like I'm going to bring this new doctrine up." You read the book of Romans, book of Romans, Paul's letters to the Romans talks about predestination. When you read the Old Testament and the New Testament, it talks about predestination and election. Calvin was somebody who read the scriptures and he said, this topic is coming out a lot. Predestination and election is something God talks about a lot. So there's a tulip, which was made which is the tulip acrostic, which is total depravity. Man is utterly born in sin. Unconditional election, which is you're chosen whether or not you like it, and God will reveal his grace to you.
Are the Jews chosen people?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, all the Jews, no.
All the Jews?
Yeah.
But the Jews back then that we're talking
No.
about the chosen people.
No. Right? So even Paul and even the prophets in the Old Testament are saying, or we're telling those Jews, just because you're of Moses or of Abraham doesn't make you a chosen race. So there's total depravity, unconditional election, limited atonement. So when Jesus died on the cross, he didn't die for the whole world. He died for his elect. Irresistible grace. When God shows his grace to you, you cannot resist it. It's so beautiful that you just want to be a part of it. And perseverance of the saints, or preservation of the saints, which is if God has saved you, he will keep you saved until the day of Jesus.
What do you think about those televangelists that like are blowing COVID away? That video we played,
Bro,
with you guys. Blow them away.
It frustrates me because you're being a caricature of what people think Christians are. Right? I believe that COVID is a spiritual thing.
I'm
Not
just
to
talking
that
about him
extent.
Okay, anyways, let's keep reading. We got to get out of here. I'm going to read the rest of his comments and we'll get out of here. Ian says, excuse me, evolution is happening right in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
Human jaws are shrinking, most likely due to the food we eat. Culling the reduction of a wild animal population by selective slaughter.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Culling is actually something I can do with decks of cards. It's a technique that I learned. Culling. Ian, I was listening to Werner
Van
Mer about talk about geopathic stress the other day. He was talking about lines of energy on the earth that emit rays causing plants and animals stress. Maybe that was maybe it was about the cosmic rays I was talking about. Or not so much emit, but it's lines on the earth where the energy is flowing through. My comments are getting set up perfectly right now. The big split between Islam and Christianity starts with Isaac and Ishmael.
Yep.
And they're Abraham's sons.
Yeah.
So Abraham has a couple. Who's Abraham?
So Abraham was pretty much like...
Is he Moses' son?
So Abraham was Abram. God changed his name to Abraham. God makes a covenant with him. He has a
promise. What's a covenant? A promise?
Yeah, a promise.
Okay.
So that he would be numbered as numerous as the stars in the sky and the sea and the sands in the seashore. He promises him a son, but he's too fucking eager and his wife is too eager, Sarah, and they're like, "Yo, go bang our slave girl that she may give you a son," because they're 90 years old. So they're like, "We're not gonna have a kid anymore. God keeps telling us we're gonna have a kid, and we haven't had a kid yet."
At this point, how long humans are living?
Maybe 1,000 years. Just
I don't mean like have they been living. I mean like because we were talking about
Yeah.
Adam and Eve
Oh,
lived like
so,
800 years.
About 100.
Okay, so we're at this point where they're
yeah.
at modern day humans.
Yeah, like
and
150. I think
It's
God-
pretty quick to go from Adam and Eve to where we're at Abram, where
Yes.
they're only living now 100 years
yes.
at a time.
Yes.
At what point
and
do
God-
people stop living? Is it Adam and Eve who lived that long, or was it their descendants who lived that
Well,
long?
I forgot where, but God even says that He will cut humanity off to about 125 or 130. So He says, no longer will you live this long. I'm going to cut you guys back to 120, 125.
Why did you do that?
Because He didn't want sin to run rampant in the world. Because that's what was happening. Like, people weren't dying, and sin kept running crazy.
But we're born with that sin right off
Yes.
the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
So death is a consequence of sin. So now it's just happening quicker. So when you look at Abraham,
Death is a consequence of sin.
Mhm.
At what point does like an accidental death, like that's a plan or something?
Well, no. When Adam and Eve, when God told Adam and Eve not to eat from the knowledge of good and evil, He said, "The day you eat of it, you will die."
Wait, don't eat. Okay, I don't know shit.
Really?
I don't know shit.
What? So God makes the Garden of Eden,
Right.
And He makes a tree of the knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life. And God says, the tree of knowledge of good and evil, don't eat of it, because the day that you
That's
eat,
the one where they eat off of.
yes, and He says, the day that you eat of it, you will die.
But they lived for hundreds of years after she ate from the tree.
Yes, but they died.
Okay, but they were originally supposed to just hang out for like forever.
That's what I'm saying. When people ask me what heaven is like, I'm always like, it's exactly like this, but with no sin, no lust, no anger, no pride, no jealousy, no nothing. It's purity.
No
right?
competition?
No competition. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say no competition, but I would say good competition. You know what I mean? Like, there's good competition of like you're trying to edify one another,
Yeah,
make
but
one
then like
another better.
there's always a loser in competitions, and some people, I mean,
But that's because we perceive it through a fallen lens.
oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So then God says, the day you eat of the tree, you will die. And Adam and Eve die, and everybody after that dies. So when you get to Abraham and Sarah, God makes a promise to Abraham, and He says,
He does a lot of this stuff where he says something and it takes about 4,000 years for it to take effect.
Yeah.
That's
Well-
where that sort of gets me there.
Well, then when you read the book of James,
When does he say something and then it happens almost immediately or within, let's say, a year or time? Like it doesn't take hundreds of years. Because for me,
Yeah.
I think about my own life. And yeah, you say that Adam and Eve would live 800 years or whatever. Let's say 1,000 just to be, rounded up.
Yeah.
Like I think about it like as a human, like we live only 100 years. Like that's all I can really conceive as a human, right? They will live 100 years. And did Adam and Eve have a tailbone as well?
I would assume so. They were like us.
They're like us.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, so we look at it through the lens of, man, thousands of years. That sounds a lot, but at the end of the day, when we're meant to live for eternity, 1,000 years, right? When you read the book of James, he says 1,000 years to the Lord is like a day, and a day is like 1,000 years. In a sense, saying God is timeless. So we may look at, God, has been 400 years. Where are you? And He's like, what are you talking about? It's been only like 4
Well,
minutes.
maybe they didn't have concepts of time.
Yeah,
back then.
exactly.
Last, dude, he keeps going
Yeah.
here. Let's see here. He only has one extra thing. So I read something here. Can you ask Carlos if he's familiar with the Book of Enoch, and if he does, does he believe that it belongs in the Bible?
Am I Carlos in this situation?
Maybe it's you may be, because I definitely don't know. I know the name
Yeah.
Enoch from believe it or not, Boardwalk Empire.
So I would say this much. Right now, I'm doing a study through the book of Jude. And the book of Jude quotes the book of Enoch. The Jewish sect does not hold the book of Enoch as scripture, but they do read it every now and then. Christians do not believe that the book of Enoch is inspired scripture. They don't add it in the canon. It's the Apocrypha, and so Catholics have it there. I've been reading through the book of Enoch the last 2 weeks. I have yet to see it. I've yet to see it go against scripture. when I read the book of Enoch, it is very prophetic. So the book of Enoch talks about what happened during the flood. So because when you read Genesis 6 talks about there was these angels who came and slept with the women of men, right? So with human beings, and they made the Nephilim, and the Nephilim are giants. And so they made, right? So that's when you read the Greeks, Hercules, Hermes, all these demigods, where did they come from, right? They're all over. Demigods are all over so many different traditions. So when you read the book of Genesis, it talks about that. It says the angels slept with women and they made these giants. And the book of Enoch talks about, it goes way more in depth in what the giants were. It even says that the giants who died are the ones who are evil spirits nowadays. So when we look at demons and ghosts and evil spirits, the Bible, or the book of Enoch is saying those are the spirits of the Nephilim. So I don't want to say that the book of Enoch is scripture, but as I read it, it is only accentuating my understanding of the Old Testament.
So that being said, do you believe it belongs in the Bible?
If you were to ask me,
yeah, I'm asking you. You're Carlos in this example.
Yes,
I believe it does belong in the Bible.
I would say because it clears up a lot of gray areas in the Old Testament, especially in Genesis. I would probably want to add, and so even to go to Ian, I don't know if you're still watching, but the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, which is one of the oldest Christian sects in the whole world, hold the book of Enoch as scripture. Okay. So the Ethiopian Orthodox Church holds it in that regard. So Ian, I mean, I would, keeping with my Ethiopian brothers.
Yeah, if you're asking me, I think it doesn't belong in the Bible. Because I know so much about the book of Enoch. Matter of fact,
he even said, did I get your names mixed up? My bad. I just read the description. I'm David. This is Carlos.
Yeah, you've been watching for 3 weeks or something at least. You should know us by now, Ian. It doesn't matter. Enoch. I mean, the only reason why I actually know that name is seriously because of Boardwalk Empire from Nucky Johnson, who was the treasurer of New Jersey back during the Prohibition.
I remember that. I was gonna say Enoch. To the scripture is one of two people who never died. So Enoch
never died.
Never.
What do you mean never died?
So
Humans died though.
No,
during his time.
So the Bible says that Enoch walked with God and he was not. And the New Testament talks about he was taken up by God and he never died. Enoch and Elijah are two people in the Bible that never died, that the scripture says they will come back before the end of the world and they will be persecuted and killed in a sense.
And there's no see all these stories. I would love to see an example of something biblical happening to us. Eventually we could, I don't know, maybe somebody living for fucking ever.
But again, that our curse is we can't until the world is reconciled into the way it should have been.
But why did Enoch get picked?
Because he was a man who followed God. He was a man of righteousness.
But you follow God. What if
I'm still a sinner, bro. I still sin.
Did Enoch not sin?
I mean, according to the text, it seemed like he was somebody who walked with God. Like he had this relationship with God's I'm gonna.
So what about priests or people or nuns? There's lots of people who walk with God. Why are they dying before 100 years?
I wouldn't know because I don't have that insight. But I would say the fact that they died.
Why did Enoch get picked and not fucking Reverend Stroop or something?
Well, I mean, when you look at Enoch, he was the seventh from Adam. 7 is the number of completion or the number of perfection when it comes to the Hebrew.
Yeah, but Reverend Stroop was 77th descendant of Jesus.
77th, and he was 70 when he died on the 7th day of the 7th month.
Dude, at some point, fucking when is Enoch gonna be fucking reproduced over here?
Well, so then, I mean, when it comes to Enoch and the other one being Elijah, scripture talks about that they will be the two who return and will die. So they will die, but they will return, and in their return, that will be the beginning of the consummation of the new kingdom. So even scripture talks about it. So before the Noahic flood was the first world. After the Noahic flood is the second world, and then the redemption of humanity is the third world. So that's where, when you look at pre-flood stuff, right, Pangea, right, we can go up to there.
Where did all the water go after the flood?
I mean, it stayed on Earth.
Yeah, but it flooded the earth, which meant like land, like places like Arizona where the Grand Canyon were flat places at some point, and water flowed through. And I mean, where did all the water
Evaporation.
go? Evaporation?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, even when it comes to Noah's
Like,
flood,
was it like seawater? Like, what kind of water was it? Like, evaporation would leave evidence of water behind, like, hard water.
Well, I mean,
buildup.
in deserts, they can tell, hey, there is water here at
Oh,
some
yeah,
point.
absolutely. You can
know
see
what I
old
mean?
dried riverbeds
Exactly.
and shit.
But even when it comes to after the flood, it talks about that the waters receded, and Noah's Ark was on Mount Meherman or something like that. And so, I mean, waters recede. The earth sucks it up or it evaporates. There's a lot of things.
The
that
earth
happen
just
to
sucked it up.
Yeah,
Fucking
well, not all of
like
it,
a
but
turkey baster.
But what I'm
sucked
saying
it up.
is, it created, because even when you look at what Pangea, right? If
all the land masses were one
everything
thing.
was together, and now everything is so many things are apart.
Do you
So
believe that? Is that talked about in the Bible, Pangea?
Pangea isn't talked about, but I mean, from what I've studied, it's like, man, if there was a worldwide flood, Pangea would be possible. Like that,
because it's all there, and if it was a flood, it would, instead of it being like a big world where it's all separated.
Exactly, and things would separate. The waters would flood even more. We get lakes.
But that's
canals,
assuming that all
rivers.
that happened within 4,000 years of the separation.
Oh,
of
it was less than. It was maybe 1,000 years, because Noah's flood was about 1,000 years into Adam and Eve and all that kind of stuff.
You guys don't say each other's names very often.
Oh, Carlos.
Yeah, like
when the Bible, Carlos talks about things. Carlos.
Obviously, he's never listened to the beginning of our fucking program before, but that's cool.
Or
Ian.
he's too tipsy to remember sometimes.
Maybe you can recall the TikTok that I always say that I'm at. You can find me at TikTok at That's Right Los. Joining me as always is exactly David Aguilar. Making sure we're streaming live is my man, not Juror52, Brandon the Hardhead Mitchell. Ian. Yeah, of course. No fucking shit. You never catch the start. Otherwise, you'd know our names by now. Ian, we love you. We're gonna get out of here.
Yeah.
We've been on way too long.
I should have been out of here at 11:30.
That's what you get. See, this was my plan all along. I'm like, all right, this guy says he's gonna out of here at 11:30. All I got to do is bring up God.
I know, dude.
And
I just fucking talk
fight
like
him
a
about God. And he's like, well, we'll keep him here till 6 a.m.
Yeah, I was yawning like a motherfucker before we came in. Now I'm like, I could talk for another good 2 hours if you want to. I mean, I'm down.
Well, see, like, here's my thing, dude. It's like, I'm a very skeptical person by nature, which is what brought me into magic in the first place. I was able to go like, yeah, that's not possible, and then go realize, oh yeah, it's not possible. Somebody else, you have to do something else to make that happen. And just thinking about that and how old the profession of magic is, and why we know these kind of things, and just recent history shows us that people used like magic tricks to fool people. And the biggest example right now are like psychics who tell you we can like listen to the dead and shit, right?
Yeah.
Like the dead can talk to you. If they prey
Necromancy.
on them. I don't know if it's necromancy. I guess, okay, yeah, we'll go with that. But it's using seances. And like this stuff's been debunked for 100 years. When Harry Houdini in 1930s used to do these seances, because he lost his mother and he was a baby's mama, man.
Yeah.
He loved his mama.
Yeah.
He wasn't a baby's mama. He was a mama's boy.
Yeah.
And when she died, this was the emergence of all those psychics, and he really believed it, because that's what you do when you're in the 30s.
Yeah.
You don't have YouTube
Technology. Yeah.
You don't have technology, so he believed it. And as a magician, he really had the mind. When he saw what they were doing, he noticed they were doing tricks to make it seem like the bells are ringing or something's floating. And so his whole life after that, because he believed it so much and then was able to go, wait, this is fucking bullshit. He spent the rest of his life debunking psychics. He spent the rest of his life, because the agreement he had, and then it was him and his wife that were doing that. And his wife, they had in this agreement, he goes, if you die before I do, and if I die before you, here's the deal. You're going to come back and say this certain word, right? You're going to say this certain thing. If there's life after death and you're able to talk to me, there's like, it's two things. If there's life and you're able to talk to me, say this or do this. I forget exactly what it was. Never happened. Like he would ask the person conducting the seance, like, what did she say? And he would say, oh, she said this. Like, no, she didn't. Because she would have said this, because this is what we agreed on. Like, this is what we were been fighting for years. That's what's been going on there. And it leads me back to the whole thing. It's that when you believe in something so much and then you realize that it's you fell for it, you really fight for the other side till the day you die. Yeah. Like David and his being an atheist before, Jimmy being a Christian before, now an atheist, fighting for that. People get burned, and it's sort of a human reaction to get retribution, to get reparations.
Yeah. Well, and at the end of the day, for me, I was really trying to convert Christians to atheism. That was my thing. I thought it was, my uncle committed suicide, and that's what led me away from God. And it was like, if there was a God that existed, he would never allow my uncle to do this. So fuck you, and I'm just going to live my life the way I want to. And so when I started coming into contact with more and more Christians, I just wanted to show them up and make them look stupid. So then when it was kind of like, okay, I started going to church and being like, all right, let me check this shit out, and I want to disprove it. It became this like, all right, well, let me pray and see if this is real. And shit started changing, and God started speaking, and it was just like, wait, this shouldn't be happening if this wasn't real. You know what I mean? And that's why even with Jimmy, because I know so many Christians who have gone from Christianity to atheism, but because their Christianity was not a biblical Christianity. It was a cultural Christianity. And so they believe what the church was saying, not what the Bible was saying. You know what I mean? The same thing with Catholics. Catholics believe what priests say and what so-and-so says and this says, or the catechism or all these other things, but they never go back to the Bible and say, well, what does the Bible say? So for me, I had to go back to the scriptures. I read nothing but the scriptures for 3 years to say, what the hell are you talking about? You know what I mean? And reading the Bible and putting it to the test is what made me a Christian. You know what I mean? And that's
why not, like, see, I get why you wanted to become a Christian, but why not, like, becoming Jewish? Like, why did you settle in that opposed to any of the other mainstream religions?
So I did study almost, I want to say every religion, but I'm pretty sure I didn't study everyone. But Buddhism, Catholicism, Zoroastrianism, Muslim, Black Hebrew Israelites, like Mormonism, Jehovah. Like, I was reading so much stuff, and just when we talk about inerrancy or inconsistencies, there are so many inconsistencies in all these other ones, or they were newer religions. So I'm like, well, I don't want to trust something that's only a few hundred years old. So when I went into the Hebrew scriptures, it was like, okay, the Bible, Old Testament, from David. This is one of the ones that's saying, in the beginning, God. So I'm like, okay, you're starting from day one.
Right.
So then I was like, all right, well, what do other, right? So then that's when studying world religions was saying, well, man, a lot of these other religions add credence to the Bible. Because you're talking about the same story of the flood, the same story of rebellion, the same story of this, and the same story of that. So the Bible was just the truest of the true. And so,
but Hinduism was around before that stuff, right? We just looked it up. Hinduism is the oldest religion.
I don't think so. I think the Jewish tradition, because not that it's the first tradition, because even then, when you read the Bible, there's Moses was called out of the land of Ur. He was from Ur of the Chaldeans. The Chaldeans were sacrificing to other gods, and they were doing a lot of child sacrifices and all this. So there was religions out there.
I wonder how those sacrifices get started. They're like, dude, we really need like corn this year. I mean, we've done everything. Last year we got no fucking corn. The year before that, no corn. I mean, I'm ready to kill my kid over here.
So this is the thing. That's why. So talking about the Book of Enoch, like when you read the Book of Enoch talks about so many spiritual things, and it talks about like the demons or the angels that rebelled and they fell, and what their names are, and what they are in charge of. You know what I mean? So like this angel gave this knowledge to these people, the knowledge of writing, the knowledge of astrology, the knowledge of the earth, the knowledge of potions. That's something I've always thought about too, is how did we discover this?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I get that, hey, I put some grapes in there and some water, and I left it for a week, and it ended up fermenting, and I found out about wine. Yeah.
Who drinks that? Who's the first one to
Yeah.
go like, that's been sitting out forever? I'm
But
gonna
in the
get sick?
very, very beginning, what was it that was saying, hey, if you do this and you do this, you get this? When you read the book of Enoch, Enoch is saying these angels were in charge of these things, and because they were trying to sleep with the women of the world, they were giving them these secrets. And because of and almost like, hey, if I tell you the secrets of this and that, will you bang me in a sense, And they were sleeping with these women in order to give them secrets of the universe. And then they started discovering all these things.
But it has to be like good. If you're gonna like trick some bitch into sleeping with you, if you got secrets, those secrets better be good because they're gonna be like, what the fuck kind of secret is that?
Cosmetics.
Cosmetics?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Makeup. Like
They
you
brought
want-
him makeup.
Hey, you want to look prettier? Is that not the fucking industry that we live on? Hey, you want to look better. You want to look younger. You want to look this and that, right?
Well, I think at this point they see someone that they perceive as pretty and they emulate some part of it.
They couldn't do that back then, right? Like, hey, you want to look this way? Oh, right, go up to
I don't know.
What-
If we saw chicks with giant tits back then, they're probably more appealing than the chicks with tinier tits back then.
Well, no, what I'm saying is...
Or did they all have big tits back then?
Well,
Did chicks all have big tits
I
back
have
in
no
the day?
idea. But what I'm thinking is more...
What does it say in the Bible about chicks' tits in the...
It doesn't say much about it.
Nothing.
The Songs of Solomon is it talks a lot
See,
about...
now, I don't know if I can get into the Bible if there's no titties.
Well, I mean, there's incest and there's rape.
Well, in that case, I'm
And-
on it.
and
All
there's
right, we
all
got to
this
get out of
other
here. That's
stuff.
it for the day.
Shit, it's already
that's
gonna be one.
This has been another episode of David Hijacks the Show with Christianity. We'll see you guys next week. We just really gotta. I'm very interested in I'm interested in that belief. I don't know if I'll ever. I just think it's interesting to. The Bible would definitely be better with titties. That's right. That's the name of the episode. The Bible would definitely be better with titties. We'll see you guys next week. Same Bible titties, same titty Bibles. We'll see you guys. I just think it's interesting, but whatever.
It is.
I think the stories are interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Till next time, for Brandon the Heart Mitchell, for exactly David Aguilar, I'm Low saying, fuck you, Ian. I'm just kidding.